Morning.
Good morning.
Huh.
Any ideas for a poll question?
What sport are you now looking forward to watching now that football season is almost over?
I like that. With the options being
Basketball, hockey, golf.
baseball.
The draft, the combine,
Right.
reruns.
Yeah. D reruns. Or I don't know, Hallmark Channel, Netflix. NASCAR. There you go. Put NASCAR. Put NASCAR.
Do you want me to put NASCAR, David?
Put NASCAR, guys.
How about we put NASCAR for the fourth choice?
Because Daytona's in 19 days.
Yippee. They still running that, huh?
Sold out. Far in advance. They were advertising in these parts all last week for the 24 hours of Daytona, which was last weekend. Penske and Porsche won, Mark. Can you believe Roger Penske won a race? Shocking.
I just muted you for a little bit. I was hoping when I came back on, you'd be talking about something interesting.
That's fair.
Have a banana.
I think I will. Have a Coke and a smile and shut it up. Baby Jules just referred to all of us as his Twitch family.
Or hers. Yeah, Twitch fam.
Ooh, catchiest jingle. Not enough choices, Paul.
Which set of A-list announcers in football do you like best?
Ooh.
That's fun. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. This is the final Tuesday of the month as we begin transitioning to, sports other than football. How the heck are you? Where did that come from?
Hello? Are these on?
Is
Hello?
everything okay?
Wow.
Did you pull something there?
No, but man, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. What is going on there?
We're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Exactly. Man, that was like 3/4 of the fake Trent voice there.
I like
Man,
that you're looking around as if somebody came and attacked you during the how the heck are you there?
I'm trying to figure out where that came from.
Yeah,
I
blink
mean,
twice if you need saving, please.
Whew, man. Gonna have to practice that maybe to do a warm-up next time. Haven't had to do one of those. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm better than you, apparently.
Apparently. I don't know why I am. I'm looking around. What in the
Can we
world?
rewind this and start over?
What in the world was that? And then, I feel like David Lee Roth. I don't feel tardy. I mean, what the heck?
You sounded a little like him too there.
Yeah,
Because he's pretty much lost his voice.
especially nowadays. My goodness, he is shot. Done. There are so many of the old. I mean, Bruce could never really sing, but his voice is shot. All right. I mean, I love him. I'll pay however much money I have to see him again, but just there's not much there. David Lee Roth. Whew. I think he was trying to do 6 final shows in Vegas and had to cancel. All right, I don't know. I'll come out of the next break or, during the commercial break for those in the Twitch chat room. I'll try it again.
Well, you've been fighting a cough for a while. Maybe that's what it was.
I don't know what's going on either. I've just got this little drip and it just is dripping right on the spot that makes you cough. And I can't get rid of it. I've taken all kinds of medication and I feel fine. It's weird. Don't know what's going on. As Eddie Murphy said, I got that herpes simplex 10. I don't know what's going on.
Starting a little early there, Dave.
I am. I'm just, bringing out the 80s videos, 80s movies lines. I'm trapped in somebody else's body this morning. I think that's where that voice came from. Ryan in the Twitch chat room suggests whiskey will fix that. I have to admit, wish I had some right about now. Don't have any in the house either.
Wrong studio. There's always some around here. I could find you some, I'm sure. There's at least 3 salesman desk drawers that it's full of.
Guaranteed, and back in the day, the sales manager too. I don't know if they still operate that way or not. So, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So, you ready? Did you watch other sports last night? Was there a moment where you all grabbed the clicker, sat down between 7 and 8 last night and went, "Oh, jeez. Really? Got to go through this again?" What's on? What are those things those guys talk about that's not football?
I did this strange thing last night. I talked to my family.
Whoa!
Had dinner with my daughter, and then, we're off to gymnastics on Monday, and then we got back from gymnastics and spent some time with my wife with the television off before we just went to bed.
What?
At around 10 o'clock.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That go okay?
I'm here.
I mean, did she seem somewhat interested?
I think we can converse for an hour or so a week and get away with it.
Okay.
Not much more than that, but we got a good hour in last night. Here's the problem. We did it on Monday, David.
I know. So
you set yourself up to have to talk every night during the week if you're going to do that.
Or you're done for the week, okay? You could replace Monday Night Football with Monday Night Talk and then be done. And then, the rest of your week, you can watch and do whatever you want between 7 and 10, 7 and 11. Look at it that way. Get it out of the way.
Tried to watch a little Duke and Virginia Tech, but it wasn't much of a game. Duke kind of held him, armbarred him for most of the game.
They did. They won and covered. Houston needed overtime. They won. Did not cover. The half very much came into play. Thank you very much. So.
But I'm going to have to go to my hip again. It's time to start paying the man more money. Because one of the things about cutting the cord is, and going with YouTube TV, which I did for football, is there's no Bally Sports.
No Lightning, Panthers, Heat, Magic.
Right.
And
no
Rays, Marlins coming up.
No Rays, no Marlins, no Panthers. I still get the Lightning because I've got the ESPN Plus.
Gotcha.
But last night, kind of wanted to watch a little Suns and Heat, blacked out.
Well, I have to admit, with the Heat, you're not missing much.
No.
Ooh, they're not just losing. I mean, they're getting beaten badly. And I understand, Jimmy Butler's missed a few games and this, that, and the other thing. But quite frankly, in the NBA, virtually everybody misses games. I mean, we're now at the point where, because Mark, and you can make as much fun of me as you guys need to make, I listen to NBA radio. That's right, I do. There's a show on there I really like. After our show, all right, I get in the car and I go and I, run an errand.
That, by the way, can we just take a quick 20-second timeout since you're talking NBA, David? I'm going to take a 20 there.
Okay.
Do you have the app to listen to NBA radio?
I do. I have the Sirius XM app. I do. I could listen to all the channels very infrequently. I think I've used it like 3 times.
Because driving around when gas was 14 cents a gallon, when you and I first started driving cars, David,
right,
was not that big of a deal.
Uh-huh.
Now just going running around, because you are like my late father. You go out for a drive.
I do.
To listen to NBA radio.
I do.
You just drive around.
I do. I'll stop somewhere. I'll grab a bite and, hit the drive-through. I mean, I'm not going to turn off NBA radio or MLB radio or NFL radio. I mean, come on. That's just why I'm in the car. And then, yes, and I will eat and drive around.
Instead of just sitting on your porch, sitting in your office and just putting it on.
And I have a beautiful lanai with a great view. I mean, it's why we live where we live. Right. No, you make a dadgum good point. You know what? Come to think of it, I think I need to freelance and also do traffic. Maybe between like 10 and 2 every day, I could just drive around and do my traffic updates.
Maybe you're on to something. Another W-2 in your future. But I love the fact that all of this content is at your disposal right where you're sitting.
Yes.
But you like it better. You choose to go in the car and drive around and listen to it because it makes it, I don't know, more at home to you being on the road.
And I don't know, I like the immediacy. See, driving around in the car, it feels like I have the clicker in my hand. I could just, no, I don't like what they're talking about here. Boom, go to baseball. Boom, go to football. Boom, go to hockey. Terrell Hatton signing with LIV. Let's see if the guys on PJ Tour Radio talk about it. Of course they won't. That's so to me, that's like having the clicker. To me, the app is sort of like streaming. I feel as if, plus there's a delay. And I know there's a delay, even though that doesn't make any sense. Okay, because it's not a delay for me. I'm hearing it for the first time, but I know it's on delay. I know it's like 5 minutes behind what they're really talking about, and I want to hear it live.
I will say, for a while in the Detroit Niners game, I was on Twitter. I was texting with a couple of people, and I was on Twitter for a little bit. I had to put Twitter away, X away during the game. The delay of YouTube TV, I'm seeing what's happening before it happened. I'm getting texts from buddies that are watching it on regular cable or over-the-air networks that are telling me, oh, he got, Sutton got beat again.
It's
I
funny-
haven't seen the play yet.
It's funny when Danielson and I call each other during games. He's on DirecTV and I'm on cable. One of us is always ahead of the other. Usually he's ahead. All right, and I have to go, remember, I'm behind. I'm going to play behind. So
I don't like it.
So, like, I knew the Niners had recovered the onside kick before I actually saw the onside kick, So, anyway, yes, I drive around. Okay. I pay cash. I go to the bank. I occasionally read a newspaper, and I listen to the radio. Yes, that's me. Guess my age. ABC 114. Right. I know.
It's habits. You like driving around listening.
I do.
No one can enter. It's a little bit of the remote. It's a little bit of the clicker theory. No one can come in and bother you.
Right.
You can literally just go downstairs, sit in the parking lot, and do the same thing.
Don't have to answer the phone if I don't want to. It's me and my happy food. I mean, there's never good stuff in the house. There's never, salmon. Wants me to eat salmon. What the heck? All right. Come on.
It's a fun game they play.
Let's go get a sausage McMuffin. In fact, let's get two. They're $1.59 these days. Let's go.
$1.59, I'd have two as well, David.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, wait, I think they're $1.69 at the one right by my house. I'm like, oh my goodness.
It's almost free. I feel like you're stealing for that price.
I do. I feel like I have to, buy one of those $7 sodas just so they can make some money off me. No ice, please.
They don't give you the senior soda?
Not at Mickey D's. They do not. No.
Look at that. Look at that. First words of the day out of Trent. A little snark.
Exactly.
A-hole moment of the day comes from the young
question. Kid. Could you tell the Lions lost the NFC Championship game? He's not as nice as he was 48 hours ago.
He's not. He's still in the stages of grief.
Yep.
Even this morning, I got a hi. I'm like, how you doing? And I came back with a how you doing, and I got a all right. We will talk to Pat Kirwan about that game, and David Samson makes his weekly appearance as well. The starting five, 25 minutes away, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller from Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Whew. Trent, did you take our advice? Go the drinking nap?
You know what? I actually stayed dry yesterday. I spent a lot of the day just laying in bed, depressed, scrolling on my phone, which of course doesn't help because my entire feed is just full of Cam Sutton getting burnt.
I have to be honest. I maybe have a little bit more to the line because I was bummed out yesterday. A couple of times I went, this just sucks.
Yeah.
And then I saw the numbers from the game.
See, I still haven't even gotten that far. I haven't.
Oh my goodness!
Just
most
under 50.
watched NFC Championship game since 2012. Fourth most watched non-Super Bowl show on Fox ever.
50, just under 57.
America's team and the Chiefs would have done a monster number. Ambien, I've got to be honest. I know you're young. You've got Super Bowls, basketball world championships, and Stanley Cups already in your lifetime. You're a little greedy.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Super Bowls. You won one of them. You're the defending NBA champ.
Right. A couple years removed from a cup. Got maybe the second best player in hockey.
Okay,
right?
Ambient. Make the trade then. Give up the Super Bowl win, but they've been the Ravens the last 8 years. Okay, but you got to give up this. You got to give the Super Bowl back. Which would you rather have? There you go. So, I mean, I'm a Giants fan. They've won one playoff game in 12 years. Huh? Okay. I mean, exactly. It just, it was that Braves Marlins debate that we had forever.
I'm starting to get a little antsy with my teams because it's been a while since '84 for the Tigers.
Right.
Late '90s for the '99 for the Wings.
08.
Oh, that's right. 08, '99 for my Spartans. Pistons is what?
04.
04. Yep.
Yeah.
Lions,
I'm starting to get a little
57.
testy.
Right.
Because they haven't even had a play. They haven't done anything since.
My basketball team's 73. I was 7. I have no recollection of it as it happened. My first Knicks recollection teams are literally like a year or two later.
So you remember the players, but not the championship. That's me with the 04 Pistons. Like, I remember watching Big Ben and Chauncey and Rip Hamilton. I just don't remember them winning it because he was 4 years old.
I remember watching Earl Monroe play and Clyde Frazier play, and yes, but I do not. But I did not. I was not watching them the year they won the championship.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Samson will join us, top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. We had an interesting little discussion there via Twitch during the commercial break. There's a fan base or two that getting a little cranky because their team hasn't done anything in 8 to 10, 12 years. And we're like, are you serious? You can't get cranky. No. You can't get cranky. Like, we have a diehard Denver sports fan. And first off, you said, hold on a second. You've won a cup and an NBA title this decade.
Yeah.
And you won a Super Bowl 8 years ago.
I don't need to hear it.
Yeah. So it got me thinking, basically, what's the statute of limitations? How long does a championship last before, as a fan, you can go, I think it's time that so-and-so wins such and such again.
I think it depends a little bit on the success of that franchise going forward. Like, it's been 15 years now, 16 years, since any of my Detroit teams have won a title, the 08 Red Wings. But largely, they've stunk since.
Right, after having a long run where they were very good, very competitive. Fortunately, your Tigers, although they didn't win the World Series, your Tigers beginning in 06 had an 8-year run that went through 2013. But you're right, Mark. I mean, you've had a decade drought here where your big three professional teams have given you nothing.
Nothing. And then the Lions came this year, and I don't have the Lions gene, although I think I have more of it deep down in me than I realized, because yesterday I found a couple of times just shaking my head going, I can't believe they didn't win that game.
Yeah. Some bad luck and some questionable coaching. We'll say more and more of the numbers were backing Dan Campbell up. If you're into that sort of thing, what their percentage was during the season, 4th and 3 and less, how many times they went for it, how many times they converted. He was true to himself. He was. It's the age-old argument. Do you manage differently in the postseason than you do in the regular season?
And when he said he doesn't going into it, no one should be that surprised that he didn't.
And we weren't.
Situation came.
And we weren't. Olsen, the announcer, is like, well, we know he's going to go for it. If the play call didn't tip you off, just his personality. He's been telling us for 4 months he's going to go for it. Why should we not believe him? We could see how tortured he was at the end of the first half. He really didn't want to kick the chip shot field goal at all. And my guess is he had guys in his ear going, Coach, take the 3, take the points. Come on, let's go. Let's head into the locker room.
They get the ball to start the half, get up 3 scores. Let's go.
Come on. Never a bad thing to, turn down points. Come on. So, but how long? Because, believe it or not, do you know it's been almost 30 years since the Niners won a Super Bowl? Now, they've been pretty damn successful for a good chunk of that 30 years. They won in 94. Well, the rest of the decade, they were a Super Bowl contender into the early 2000s. Now, the mid to late 2000s, that was a dark hole for the Niners. But then Harbaugh, 2011 through 2014, first 3 years, they go to the conference championship game every year, including a Super Bowl appearance. And Kyle Shanahan took over in 2017. They were in the Super Bowl in 2019. So, in the last 29 years, they've had 20 good ones. They've gone to, this is their 3rd Super Bowl during that run? how many championship games? Like 7, 8 conference championship games in the last 30 years at least. But they haven't won the Super Bowl in 29 years.
No, but they've won a handful of World Series in that time. They've won a few NBA titles.
Right. That fan base has done pretty well. Correct. The Giants, who hadn't won the World Series since they were in New York, decided to win 3 in 5 years. Right. The Warriors, who hadn't won an NBA title since the Ford administration, decided to put a little dynasty together.
So to me, it's a case-by-case basis. It really is.
It is. And I think the Miami Heat are a really good example of this because they won it in 06, but then you're able to shift your expectations 4 years later when LeBron comes. Yeah, we should get a couple titles out of this. We're not okay just because we won 4 years ago. And then again, honestly, right now with Jimmy Butler, he's made 2 finals. I know they're struggling this year, but Heat fans are like, come on.
Yeah, but Heat fans don't even care. Heat fans are like, when do the playoffs start?
Yeah.
They have figured out the Heat fan. The NBA is perfect for the Miami sports fan because they don't really care about the regular season, and neither does their team.
Yep.
When's the second round start? We'll pay a little attention there as long as we get through the first round.
Like Ryan in our Twitch chat room's a Cubs fan. He says, quote, I'm good for a while. That's 2016. He's like, oh, no, I'm fine.
And we go back to all these older franchises and old sports cities. I was thinking about this morning coming in. What if you live in Charlotte, North Carolina? How bad your sports are right now.
Unless Duke and Carolina is what drives your train more than, the pro teams. But yeah, not good. Not good. Why do you think Canales asked for a 6-year contract? This is going to take a while.
Exactly. And their basketball team's just been bad.
Pretty much since they came back into the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole generation, damn near 2 generations of NBA fan that's like, wait, was Charlotte ever good? Yeah, it was called the 90s. Teal uniforms and everything. It's like a trendy place to be for an hour and a half. It really was. They were fun. Muggsy Bogues, Larry Johnson, Lonzo Mourning, they were fun. Look it up.
So to me, it's simply a case-by-case basis because it always depends on it's not just the last game, but it's the success of your team. And can you enjoy the team? There are certain cities right now, it's hard to just enjoy the team or teams.
Now, the Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl since 72. Haven't been to a Super Bowl since, the early approaching mid-'80s. Yeah, absolutely. And then we can go through the list. Raiders have had virtually no success for 20 years. Yeah, we all know the teams. But just curious as to, is it a generation? Is that how much has to be lost before you can say, you can look that sports fan in the eye and go, all right, I get why you're getting cranky.
I think that's about right.
Like kind of, when the kid graduates high school type deal, give it 18 years. If your team hasn't gotten to or won the whole thing in, by the time your high schooler heads to college, you're like, I'm starting to get annoyed.
Well, you brought it up a generation. I looked through my son, who's a diehard Wings fan, and he was little. He was 9 when they won it. He's like, can I get some of what you had, Dad? I'd like just a little of that.
Yeah, well.
And that's I think where it starts.
Right.
When you start looking at you're exactly right, David. When you start looking at your kids and seeing they haven't seen any success of the teams I rooted for, they need some of that.
RCB's a Lightning fan. He's like, yeah, they owe me nothing.
No, they don't.
At 10 years, if they're going to miss the playoffs for 10 years, you know what? I'm just going to have to learn to live with it. Starting 5 next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So one of my good buddies flew out to San Francisco for that game, and he is kind of making a trip out of it, right? So they went to visit Alcatraz. He takes a picture of the cell block, after the game. This was yesterday. And he goes, "Oh, I found a nice little apartment for Josh Reynolds."
Coolest tour, one of the coolest sightseeing tours I've ever been on in my life.
Alcatraz?
Yes,
Yeah.
amazing.
It's very fascinating to me. Obviously, I've never been, but
It's really cool. All right. We want to go with the broadcasters, or we want to go with what sport you want to watch?
Yeah, broadcasters.
I like the broadcasters because we can use the sports one anytime. You can file that one away.
Who is your favorite?
Somebody is quoting Mark Twain in our Twitch chat room. Do you want me to go all Thomas Paine on you? These are the times that try men's souls, mine included.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until David Samson joins us at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Well, we've turned over a new leaf in 2024. We're big on this whole poll question thing. A, having one, and B, getting it up early in the show.
And it has been Trent's mission.
Yeah.
During the morning. In fact, so much so that I've noticed, David, I try to send you the link that you and I hook up on so we can communicate no later than 20 till the hour. That's typically, but sometimes quarter till. You pop on. Sometimes, you grace us with your headsets and we talk. Lately, since Trent's been active with the poll question, you have gone radio silence until as late as possible.
Right, because I know as soon as I put the headset on, you hear Trent go, "So what are we doing for a poll question, guys?"
Sometimes we're already live on Twitch by then, too, so they get to hear that little banter.
What are we thinking?
30 seconds.
And when the two of us grunt, he goes, "Hey, what about?" So we kicked a few around today. And what do we have?
Who is your favorite NFL announcing crew? And I'm only putting the A-teamers on there.
Okay.
Buck Aikman, Nance Romo, Tarico Collinsworth, Burkhart Olsen.
There you go.
Al Michaels doesn't make the list.
Well, that's okay. I don't know how much longer Al and Kirk are going to have a gig anyway, so no sense putting them on the list. I think they each have a year left on their contract, and not sure they're going to see it either. That's the scuttlebutt in the industry, so we'll see. Because, it's not like Amazon can't afford a buyout. They can afford a buyout of a country. They can certainly afford to buy out a broadcast team. But I got to admit, if you were Amazon, wouldn't you hire Olsen for Thursday nights?
I think he does a good job, first off.
Yeah, I agree. But also, put an NFL guy. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Kirk's style is not very X's and O. It's not. It's more talk show. And when he comments on the guys, he almost always comments on them about, what they did in college. I mean, he didn't play pro ball. He just, there's not the connection with Kirk with an NFL game that if I was running Amazon, I'd be like, get me. How about Greg Olsen?
I think it would be a good call,
but
maybe not a good call. But it would be a good call. Sorry, I just decided I was going to be Tony Romo for a half a second.
Wow, look at that. That was quality material right there. So that's our poll question. Which announcing team do you like the best? That Mark Miller. I'll retweet it at some point. The David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
Wonder who he's voting for.
Well, there is a strong lean in this instance. There really is. 18 minutes before the hour, time for
the starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Listen, we do this year round, and barring something really, really big, we start with the NFL. Because 57 million of you watch the NFC Championship game. And the other sports are hoping to just get like 2 million of you. Dolphins interviewing Leslie Frazier for their defensive coordinator job. Now, they've interviewed a bunch of people. They've interviewed like their whole defensive staff that stayed behind, basically, for the gig. But now they're interviewing candidates from outside the building. The Bucs, meanwhile, interviewing Texans quarterback coach Gerard Johnson. Remember, Canales was the quarterback's coach in Seattle. We saw the job he did in his 1 year in Tampa. Johnson obviously got high marks for what he did with C.J. Stroud. Johnson has interviewed with 6 teams, by the way, for their offensive coordinator job. Chiefs, you remember Charles Omenihu? He got the strip sack, which led to the field goal for Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. He had 7 sacks throughout the year. He left with a knee injury. Yeah, it turns out it's a torn ACL. So obviously Omenihu out for the Super Bowl. Chargers appear to be hiring. If you listen to Miller and Moulton, you kind of got an exclusive from Pat Kirwan on Friday. He told us who the Chargers GM job was down to. And it was down to the assistant GM of the Giants and Ravens director of player personnel, Joe Ortiz. Well, we figured Ortiz probably had the in because don't you think Jim would call brother John and say, so who do you recommend?
Unless John really wanted to keep him and said, take the other guy.
So Ortiz is 48 years old. He spent his entire professional career, 26 years, with the Ravens. Have to admit, if you're going to hire front office people, that would have to be on the short list of organizations to hire from. Rick Stockstill, who's in the Florida State Athletics Hall of Fame, he was the first quarterback that the Noles had under Bobby Bowden back in the day. First teams in the late 70s into the early 80s that, made Florida State football a thing. Rick Stockstill has had a long coaching career. He just retired as the Middle Tennessee State head coach. Well, Mike Norvell brought him back to Florida State. Director of scouting for offense. I don't know. It just seems like an excuse to wear a bunch of Florida State garb to me and pay you about $150,000 and live in the Tallahassee area. But yeah, what the heck? And hell, Miller Moulton would sign up for that.
Hey, anything for a free golf shirt, David. We're in.
We'd even do a radio show in the morning if you want. NBA, Heat have lost 7 straight. Phoenix beat them 118-105 in Miami. Orlando had a 16-point halftime lead, got outscored 35-12 in the third quarter in Dallas. Couldn't come back, lost to the Mavs 131-129. Knicks have won 7 straight. They beat Charlotte 113-102. Some good matchups last night in the NBA. Celtics held off the Pelicans 118-112. battle for the top seed in the West. Timberwolves and OKC came in with identical marks. T-Wolves won on the road, 107-101. Denver got 25 points, 16 rebounds, 12 assists from this Jokic guy. They held off Doc Rivers in his debut in Milwaukee, 113-107. Cleveland beat the Clippers, who have been red hot, 118-108. No Embiid for the Sixers, no chance. They lost in Portland by 26. I didn't know Portland could beat Gonzaga by 26. College hoops, Duke kept Vatek at arm's length, beat the Hokies by 10 on the road. That's a good win. Duke Carolina Saturday, by the way. Both teams are hot.
There's a triple header Saturday of really good basketball games.
And just so you know, there's no football this weekend. We need to reiterate that. The month changes the calendar on Thursday, and there's no football this weekend. Unless you're going to count that skills thing going on in Orlando. Houston needed overtime in Austin, but they beat the Longhorns 76-72, but that's not a cover because Texas was getting 4.5. In-state, Bethune lost. FAMU won, just their fourth win of the year. Women's side, ninth-ranked LSU lost on the road to Mississippi State, 77-73. By the way, yesterday, for whatever, she used to be the coach at Jacksonville University, Yolette McCune. She's now at Ole Miss. Over the weekend, she basically chastised her own Oxford community and said, listen, you guys are late to the women's sports party. We're a thing. All right. And started talking about the ratings and the attendance elsewhere. And we went to a Sweet 16 last year. We've got 2 losses on the season, and we're getting the crowds that we're getting. And it's on you. It ain't us. It's on you. Well, in the lovely society that we live in today, Mark, you know, you've got the other side that doesn't like women's sports. And all of a sudden now this week, to combat that, because that got a lot of attention, they're releasing the financials as to how much money women's basketball teams are losing. So the Ole Miss basketball team, women's basketball team last year lost $8 million. The LSU women's basketball team lost $8 million. And they won the national championship. So it's been an interesting last 3-4 days in the high-profile women's basketball world. You know, all the sides that are out there are kind of yelling at one another, and I got my facts, and I got my facts. So that just kind of let you know that what's going on. In-state, Bethune won and FAMU lost. By the way, Baylor's going to retire Brittany Griner's number 42, which seems obvious, right? Yeah, there was a big fallout between Griner and Kim Mulkey when she was at Baylor. So if Mulkey was still at Baylor, they wouldn't.
This would not happen.
Right. And so the irony is Nikki Collin, who replaced Kim Mulkey, who has never coached Brittany Griner in the WNBA or at Baylor, she's actually the one that's been instrumental in repairing the relationship between Griner and Baylor and making this happen. And we know Nikki, you know, she was an assistant at FGCU. You know, I still keep in touch with her. So friend of the show. So anyway, that's going to happen coming up in about 3 weeks. The basketball rankings came out yesterday. UConn men's still number 1, Purdue 2, Carolina's 3rd, Duke 7, Kansas 8, Kentucky 10. It's a really tough year for the Blue Bloods so far. Women's side, South Carolina 19-0, they're number 1. K-State is 2, Iowa 3. FAU men, by the way, 20 in the AP, 23 in the coaches poll. They're the only Florida school, male or female, ranked right now. FAU men. 1 hockey game, Ottawa in overtime over Nashville, 4-3. Tyrell Hatton left the PGA Tour, got a $63 million signing bonus. He's joining John Rahm's team. LIV season openers Friday in Mexico. And there was an interesting trade yesterday in Major League Baseball. Twins traded away. Twins are cutting payroll because they're one of those teams that's not getting the Bally's money that they need. And so they're told everybody, hey, we need to shed payroll. They've lost like 3 starting pitchers to free agency, and now they just traded away Jorge Polanco, their 30-year-old second baseman, who's a good player. And he's only making $10.5 million for this year and $12 million for next. They traded him to Seattle for 3 pitchers and an outfield prospect.
Bet the under on the Twins.
And yet they still might win that division because that division is not good. And Aaron Hicks, Yankees still owe him $19 million, and yet he signed with the Angels yesterday. 9 minutes before the hour, David Samson will join us in 10 minutes' time. Maybe some of this will come up again. 9 minutes before the hour, that was.
Live every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you go. Pat Kirwan in a little over an hour, live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile.
You know, one thing that you didn't mention is that we've talked a lot. We've talked more live PGA golf on this show than most shows because we're in Florida and it's golf country. The whole money coming in the Cohen Group, perhaps investing into the PGA Tour.
Yeah, maybe the financial backing is not going to come from the Saudis. Maybe it's going to come from the owner of the Mets, the owner of the Red Sox, Arthur Blank, and a couple of other billionaire pro sports owners. And apparently they're talking about $3 billion in cash.
They still may take money from the PIF fund, but not necessarily, and it's certainly not going to be the first influx of cash to the PGA Tour. So the whole merger thing is very much on hold between Live Golf and the PGA Tour.
And if you're Live, if you're not the primary financial backing, why would you be interested in giving them a dime? Seriously. So this could be so much for the two sides coming together.
Right.
I mean, this could be, we go back to it's Coke and Pepsi, baby. Let's fight this out. Maybe. Here's my question. How are those guys going to get their money back? How's Cohen and Arthur Blank and John Henry, how are they going to get their money back? I don't get it. But then again, what do I know about making money? David Sampson's next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Excuse me.
So, Mark, tonight's Michigan State game is the lowest. I think it's the only time that neither team, or it's the lowest they've been ranked since like 2012 when they played each other. Something crazy like that. I saw how this is like an all-time low for the rivalry.
It seems about right because they're both struggling.
Michigan State's on the bubble, and Michigan's just
bad.
No shot unless they win the Big Ten tournament.
Morning, David.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Hey, David, do you watch the Grammys as much as you get into the Oscars, or no?
I do not.
Okay. I was just curious because that's coming up this Sunday. So
I know. My musical love sort of ended in maybe 95.
Well, how'd you like the Academy Awards?
Loved the Golden Globes, loved the Academy Awards because I watch movies. I just don't listen to current music. So it's sort of like why I don't subscribe to people anymore. I don't recognize anybody.
I think we need to bring Ricky Gervais back.
He's the best ever.
I just
for the Golden Globes.
Yes, that I think that is in need of a boost.
Yeah, they took a chance on that guy this year, and it did not work out.
No, it didn't.
I had never even heard of him.
I hadn't either. Isn't that interesting?
No coin?
Apparently, though, he got the job like 10 days beforehand. I mean,
he was telling the truth about that. And it showed.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Well, but also talk about an audience that can't laugh at itself.
That's true as well.
I mean, come on.
Okay, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's that day and time, the final Tuesday of the month, top of the 7 o'clock hour. That means, well, only one thing, David Samson. He of the Nothing Personal with David Samson, the daily podcast, which he does live at 8 a.m. every weekday. And you can follow David on Twitter/X at David, the letter P Samson, David P Samson. When we last spoke, you were in turmoil because you had to do your day job while the Oscar nominations were coming out. So quickly recap what they get right, what they get wrong. Go.
Well, I learned a very important thing. Don't do a live show while you're trying to watch nominations happen and then sort of live talk about who's being nominated and then realize that you're live doing your regular show that people may be listening to, not at that particular moment. So that was a lesson learned. I was disappointed for Greta Gerwig in Best Director. I thought that was the biggest snub. People are upset about Leonardo DiCaprio. I really was not. People are upset about Margot Robbie not being nominated for Best Actress. I was disappointed as well, but there's 5 worthy nominees. So it's going to be an interesting ride to March 10th. Though people are saying Oppenheimer is going to sweep everything, I think Best Director is certain. I think Best Picture is likely. And I think the acting awards may be set in stone as well. But the thing about the Oscars is you never know, which is why it's worth watching.
All right, fair enough. I got to watch some of the movies before I watch the Oscars. That would make the most sense to me. But you got me on the holdovers. That's number 1 on my list.
Please.
I was curious, and I know we've not talked about this a whole lot with you, but the Live Golf, the PIF Fund, and the PGA Tour, they were scheduled to merge. Now it looks as if Stephen Cohen, Arthur Blank, the Fenway Group, and some others may be coming in. Is this a grab by the PGA Tour to keep PIF out? Is this American owners saying we want American sports to be owned by Americans? I mean, this, because the PGA Tour runs with this not-for-profit scam that they've been running for years. Now they're starting a profitability arm of their corporation. Is that where this influx of money should come?
Well, it's very patriotic to say what you're saying, that Stephen Cohen and John Henry have stood up and they've put their hand over their heart and said, I love America. I'm going to buy this asset. But that's not really how it works. And what the merger really was a huge sponsorship deal where PIF was going to put a ton of money into the PGA Tour. And the result of it would be a merged entity, but really they'd still be separate and maybe equal, except PGA wanted to have the upper hand. They wanted to have the extra board seat, sort of like MLB's competition committee where the players thought they had a seat at the table, but they're outnumbered by the owners, so it doesn't really matter what the players think or say, much to the chagrin of Tony Clark. What PGA is doing smartly is seeing who else is out there who's willing to invest dollars. And they're trying to put a group together, but I don't think that group will ever be able to match what the sovereign fund can do or at the terms that the sovereign fund will offer, because people in the U.S. are a little more business oriented and the Saudis are interested only in getting their feet and toes and arms, and that pun is horrifically intended, involved in American sports as a way to try to sports wash. So the PGA Tour definitely has a problem because they need the influx of money. They've got to increase their prize pool because they're losing players to the competition. And when you lose players to competition, like in any industry, either you get better, more competitive, or you disappear. And I don't think anybody wants the PGA to disappear.
Do they really have to, though? I mean, no. I'm being very serious. Right now, there's 48 guys in the field. I think they're expanding it to 54 this year. 54 golfers, I think, in LIV. I mean, that's it. That's it. Meanwhile, what the PGA Tour argues, we have the tradition. It doesn't mean anything if you win the Mexico event on the LIV Tour. It means something if you win the Farmers Insurance at Torrey Pines, etc. You don't get any World Golf Ranking points playing on that tour. Could the PGA Tour just say, quite frankly, you know what? Fine, go. We'll get 54 more of you look just like you.
It's a great question. And what you do is you do some math. You go speak to your sponsors, you speak to your TV partners, and you say, hey, for Masters weekend or for PGA or for US Open, would you mind if it were Miller, Moulton, and Samson on the back nine with the final tees? How would that be? Were you still going to pay all that money? And what I mean is, it's like Fox or TNT doing a deal for baseball or basketball to look at a rec league. You're doing it for the best. And if the best players are all playing on the Live Tour and your tour becomes a minor league developmental tour, then you are going to get revenue associated with such a tour, like minor league baseball. So you say, do they have to? And the answer is, the players don't really care about whether they're winning a tournament in Abu Dhabi or they're winning a tournament in Scottsdale, Arizona. When you're guaranteed $100 million or $50 million or $30 million or $200 million, people at the end of the day act in their self-interest, as we all do, and Liv is going to win those jump balls every day of the week.
I actually have to admit, I think they could play hardball. I really do. They're on the CW. They basically don't have a TV contract. All right. It's
They don't need it.
Well, but I just, here's the thing though. When we're, by the way, we're fairly pro LIV because we're independent contractors and we believe that the golfers should be able to play wherever they want, whenever they want. So we've been much more pro LIV and alternate tours than 98% of our audience. But I really think the PGA Tour could just say, you know what? You basically go into the witness protection program when you go over there, take your money and have a good life.
So that's the math they're doing. And that math would be them doing a deal with just Fenway Sports Group and Stephen Cohn and Arthur Blank and seeing what that would mean for their financials, for their ability, for their purses, for their tournaments. But at the end of the day, people vote with their fingers. And what I mean by that is when you see a John Rahm disappear and then you see every once in a while a different player and then a different player and then a different player, all of a sudden you realize that you don't have the product that you thought you'd have. Hardball is a great, great way to negotiate. It's my favorite way to negotiate, but you better have a lot of leverage and you better be willing to walk away. And if you don't have those two things going into a negotiation, you are very likely going to lose.
I was looking at arbitration to switch to baseball and all the things going. Are there any stories that you have? Because the money's so close on a lot of these that it doesn't matter. But I just would think, being president, at some point you win one of these, you lose one of these, any animosity from the players, instead of just signing a guy, forcing arbitration. Have you had any stories at all, or is that just a pretty commonplace thing that never has any recoil?
It's total poppycock. Let me explain to you. Corbin Burns, when he stood up last year and said, I'm disappointed in my organization. I didn't think they felt about me the way they felt about me during arbitration. That guy has a terrible agent, and the two of them together don't even have a quarter of a clue. I've sat across the table from scores of players in arbitration, fighting over as little as $100,000, as much as a couple $1 million. And I'm passing notes. I got in trouble during the Cody Ross arbitration. The arbitrators almost kicked me out of the room because he and I were like passing notes to each other. And we were in the room over maybe a couple $100,000. He understood because I told him what we were going to do before we did it. And we understood because he told me what he was going to do before he did it. We traded for players and took them to arbitration before we met them. I met Kevin Gregg in the hearing room. First time I ever met the guy. And he wasn't the only player. And we ended up being close, working, professional associates and friends. Arbitration is part of the business. And what we tell the players, hey, we'd love to get rid of arbitration. This was your idea. It first got into the CBA because of you. If you want to get rid of it, go to my island, my plan, which is free agency for all of you every year. And the players say, nah, I'll take my chances in arbitration.
By the way, I think this has been a really bad offseason for baseball after a terrific season with a lot of popularity, a lot of good ideas that basically 2 agents and 3 clients have dragged the entire sport to a standstill, to the point, David, if you're Major League Baseball, do you almost need to reconfigure the offseason and say, listen, we got 20 days in which all the deals need to be done. Right here. Okay, because like the winter meetings, I would never send my news organization to the winter meetings anymore. I'm throwing thousands of dollars away and nothing's happening because Scott Boras doesn't want it to happen till Valentine's Day. Well, then I'm staying home till Valentine's Day.
So there's two. Well, are you home most Valentine's days?
That's
a funny. That's a funny one.
No,
to
the
choose.
funny thing is, David, I'm always working on Valentine's Day.
Boy, you must be a great Valentine.
I'll tell you, I'm a catch, David. I'm a
You are
catch.
something. So, a couple things. The best way to neutralize Boras is to not bail him out. And owners bail him out. And I'm guilty of that as team president. We bailed him out on Wei-Yin Chen. We've bailed him out on many players. If you let his players go unsigned and don't give in to his demands, he will not be able to hold baseball in this state of inaction. The second thing is that I couldn't get the owner votes. I needed 23 votes, and I went after it to try to get an off-season deadline to make the trade deadline in July and to make the free agent deadline in December. And that way we could own a day during the season in the NFL, and then we would know our rosters, and we'd be able to get ready for spring training. And the reason why owners wouldn't do it is they felt as though if you put a deadline on signing free agents, you take away the ability of our baseball people who we think are smarter than yours to really filter through and manage and put together their roster. Because when you force things, that's when bad deals can happen at the last minute, is their view, like the last day when you exchange arbitration numbers and you see 70 players signed because some owners give in. I really like the idea of a deadline. I think in the next CBA, it's going to come up again because of the way these off seasons are going and how slow they are, because it's bad for the fans and it's also bad for the players. So the union's aware of it, and the players who don't know where their kids are going to be or where they're going to be. So there's a lot of forces in play that I think will bring your issue right back to the table.
He's David Samson. In 47 minutes, he will record today's version of Nothing Personal with David Samson. He does it 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. You can also see him on CBS Sports HQ. Follow him on Twix. David, the letter P, Samson, David P. Samson. David, have a great rest of your week. We'll talk again in February.
Happy almost Valentine's Day. See you later.
He sounds like a better catch than me, Mark. He really does. He's more fun. He wants to go to the movies.
You just want to converse. That's all right. He's going to sit in a room for 2 hours and not talk to his Valentine. You're going to at least converse. You're just going to do play-by-play for a college basketball game, and she's going to have to listen in another city.
Right. She'll end up talking to David, is what will happen on
I actually
Valentine's
get paid
Day.
not to converse by
Well,
my Valentine.
That's what marriage is called, David.
Divorce.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Mark, here it is. 12-8 Michigan State versus 7-13 Michigan. 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, streaming only, with the worst combined winning percentage entering a rivalry game in 4 decades.
What's the game on tonight?
I think it's on Peacock. I don't know. I would assume, because it says it's only streaming.
What is today? Tuesday. That means I've got soccer.
Michigan State's an 11-point favorite for what it's worth.
Time's the game 7.
9.
What the hell?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's not 6:30 on FS1.
It's the greatest time slot in the world.
The Big East.
Hello.
Started today, David.
Larry King Live
1978.
on the radio.
Yep.
Miami.
Yep.
Cocoa Beach. Hello.
Miami's where he started out.
Oh, yeah. And then he did overnights.
Well, this is all I think this is the syndicated, because this is what it said is the Mutual Broadcasting Network.
Right.
Syndicated.
He did an overnight show. And I mean, the topics, he could have a serious foreign policy discussion, and then his next guest could be UFOs. I mean, seriously, his overnight show was crazy, the topics that they would discuss.
What year was that? What year did it start?
78.
Okay.
And he did it for a good
So
long
90s.
time. Because I even think he kept the radio show the first few years he was doing his CNN talk show.
Do you guys like Howard?
Love him.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the same as what it was.
Liked him when he was Howard Stern.
Okay. Fair enough.
Best interviewer of our time.
That I agree with for sure.
And that he can still do.
But the show's a bit sanitized.
Well, and it's only 3 days a week, and he's got like 8 weeks off. So I mean, he barely does 100 shows. He does like 130 shows a year.
Here we go.
660 WNBC. Imus in the morning, Howard in the afternoon.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
"21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan, 40 minutes away, joining us live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So, do you know, besides obviously, they've never been to the Super Bowl, you know how many franchises, by the way, have still not been to the Super Bowl?
It's 4, right?
Correct. The Lions and the Browns. The Browns had the 3-year hiatus, so, their drought isn't as long as Detroit's. And then Jacksonville, Houston. So those are the 4 franchises that have yet to even appear in the game. Obviously, the list is significantly longer for those franchises yet to win the Super Bowl. But the other thing, Mark, that the Lions had a chance to do Sunday, which has still not been done. No dome team has won a conference championship game outdoors. Still to this day.
So home field does exist.
Well, apparently, if you get that far or you play in a dome, if you think about it, the Saints, they've played at least one, they played at Soldier Field, the Bears in the 06 season. I think all their other NFC title games have been at home. But, I mean, we can go right through the dome teams. Name the dome team that won the conference championship game on the road. Peyton and the Colts. They never won in New England or anywhere else for that matter. And there are a lot of dome teams.
So what you're saying is the dome team needs the one.
Or they need to have it play out where they get the conference championship game at home. It's something to keep in mind going forward. You would think here we are in the 2020s, and we've had teams playing in the dome now since the 70s. We've had quite a few dome teams, good ones too, take their, crack at it. Now, we can argue, are the Cowboys, insert Cowboys joke here. Are the Cowboys, do they play in a dome? Because that can be open aired. Is SoFi a dome?
No.
It's
places a dome. SoFi's not a dome.
It's open on the sides and it can be open up top or it cannot, so. But so far, still, we've yet to have a dome football team win a conference championship game outdoors to go to the Super Bowl. I found that to be an interesting factoid. There's not many of those left in professional sports.
Our poll question today is a pretty simple one. Who is your favorite NFL announcing crew? We went with the A-teamers. Buck Aikman, Nance Romo, Tirico Collinsworth, Burkhart, and Olsen. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, FL Sports Network on Twitter, or floridasportsnetwork.com to cast your vote.
It's going to be close. I don't know. Who's going to win it?
I think Romo's going to win it. No, I don't. Maybe I do.
Well, from that angle, it looks like he will.
Jim? Gene? Tracy? Good thing in the playoffs they have those big crews, so he can just call out like 4 or 5 different names. Jay?
Yeah, hot potato.
Yep. So listen, last time, at least for a while, that we can put Olsen in a poll question like this. How long will it be till Greg Olsen is back as a number 1 analyst? Over under 2.5 years. Amazon doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
When they move him, when he gets moved to replace Herb Street by Amazon on Thursdays, and I think Fox will let him, by the way, just like ESPN let Herb Street do that gig. Now, they wouldn't let Herb Street do the playoff game on NBC, okay, but they did let him freelance and do the Amazon thing. I think Fox will let Olsen, if they offer him Thursday nights, let him do it. How long do you think until Olsen replaces Aikman, Collinsworth, or Romo on one of the other three broadcasts? Over, under 2.5 years?
Over.
I'll go under. I think there's a chance that Collinsworth is out soon.
Well, they usually let announcers get one final Super Bowl. You know, they kept Al around for an extra Super Bowl, much to Tirico's chagrin. When he signed that contract, he thought he was getting the Rams-Bengals Super Bowl. They kept Al around. So next year's Super Bowl is Fox, and then the following Super Bowl, I think Super Bowl 60 is NBC. So that's why I'm going under.
So you think Collinsworth's done after that?
I do. And I think NBC will pounce and hire Olsen. And I actually think if things don't get better at CBS with Romo, that CBS will make a decision. Do they let Olsen go to NBC, or will they pounce and offer more money to have him replace Romo? This Super Bowl is a really big deal in the future of Tony Romo on the air. I mean, he's going to get paid either way. He has 6 years at $17.5 million owed to him. I mean, it's $105 million to make him go away right now.
It's fascinating because he's not our cup of tea.
Right.
Some people I know a lot of people who really like Romo.
Yep.
I like him. I like his energy, but I understand how for you guys, from your perspective as play-by-play guys, I completely understand why you're not huge fans.
Oh, and see, to me, it has nothing to do with that. I just think he's an idiot. No, I do. I know he's making no. He's making stuff up. He's saying things that are blatantly false and getting away with it.
Well, yeah, and see, that's a whole different issue because then you're spreading misinformation.
And I don't mean facts. I mean, like, football stuff. Okay, he's saying something, and it's like, no, that's not what happened. That's not what just happened. So that's my problem. And I don't think it's a smart broadcast. I don't.
I don't either.
It sounds more like a college, a bunch of us 22 years of old trying to feel our way and learn how to do a game than an NFL broadcast.
Yeah, he goes for the snappy, witty.
If he can.
Entertaining.
He certainly tries.
He tries.
And I get it. I try every day for 4 hours too. I do, but I do 5 of these. Sometimes I'm funny and sometimes it misses.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that was the point of being a color analyst on an NFL broadcast.
There you go.
29 minutes after the hour. Time now for Trent in the play of the day.
There was a lot of good NBA action last night, but oddly enough, our only NHL game went to overtime. So we're going to go to Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, where the Senators are hosting the Preds. Nashville got up 3-0 in the first period, but zipped the rest of the way. Ottawa 3-0 in the second period, scoreless third, and that's how we find ourselves in overtime. And 3.5 minutes into that chaotic overtime period, the home team called game on this play.
Back the other way, another 2-on-1. Here's the action we've been waiting for. Giroux gets it back, Stützle, back to Giroux, one-timer, and Claude Giroux scores!
Claude Giroux ends it, and the Senators win 4-3. Mark, they're headed to Hockeytown to take on our Red Wings tomorrow, and there's your play of the day presented by Molly Maid.
It's the Molly Maid play of the day. Call Molly Maid today, 239-774-5839. That's 774-5839. Do like so many have done, make the switch. If you're looking for a clean house, call Molly Maid today. Steve's waiting for your call as we speak. Give your spouse the gift of a clean house.
Huh? And then put that on a T-shirt. Say, here's your Valentine's Day gift. Don't laugh. That's an underrated Valentine's Day gift.
A T-shirt?
No. Yes. Okay, and Molly Maid. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Johnny O, you're showing your age there if you're going Kirk out.
Welcome back to Florida Sports Network.
$22 until the top of the hour, and that's when Pat Kirwan joins us live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile. Pat flew in yesterday morning. Curious what, if any, of the practices and what have you he was able to see, and whether or not the league was still buzzing about the conference championship games. Talk with Pat coming up in a little more than 20 minutes. Our poll question today, we went announcing teams. We went with the A-teamers, if you will, in the NFL, the number one teams. You know, the Buck Aikman, Nance Romo, Tirico Collinsworth, Burkhardt, and Olsen, which is going to be Burkhardt and Brady, at least we're still led to believe, next year. Which team do you like best? That's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
Do you think Brady's going to be the A-teamer?
Well, I always said no.
I know that. That's why I asked. It seems like it's closer to happening now than ever before.
Yeah, he's still talking about doing it. And I know for a fact he's had a couple meetings with a couple of the people that he would be working with next year on the crew. So he seems as if it's full speed ahead. Do you know Olsen gets a $7 million pay cut? Because when they bumped him up from the B team to the A team, so to speak, they, out of respect, said, hey, we're going to pay you like an A-teamer. And so he's got $10 million the last 2 years. And I don't know how many times Greg Olsen made $10 million playing. I mean, you know, that seems like good, cold, hard cash to a Greg Olsen, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the contract specifically says you go back to the B team, you know, $3 million. So Brady's costing him, you know, $7 million a year for however long he's got to, you know, hang out and be on the B team. So that's, never mind the fact him and Burkhardt are buddies. They knew one another from growing up in Jersey. So, you know, the games won't be as good. You know, you're lucky if you even get one playoff game. Like Ian Eagle and Charles Davis, the CBS B team, they didn't even get a playoff game this year.
For the record, in 2015, Olsen made $13 million.
Okay, the year they went to the Super Bowl.
And in 2018, he made a little over $12 million.
Okay. So how much did he make in his playing career, by the way?
You want to take a stab at it, or you want me to just give it to you?
$68 million.
Oh, wow. David almost won both showcases. He definitely got the cars. $70,176,613. David is your showcase winner.
Boy, that was a pretty good guess.
It was excellent.
So there you go. I mean, you know, if I cost you $7 million a year, would you hold a grudge?
Yes.
Even though I'm the greatest quarterback of all time, though. I mean, come on.
You don't need the money.
Well, that's true. You know.
Go do your Let's Go podcast and call it a day. I've got this gig covered.
Let me ask you this question, because he signed some ridiculous deal with Fox. I mean, he's like 375 million. I mean, I think he's making, I don't know, 35 million a year, because he's going to do more than just do games. He's going to show up at all their corporate gigs and play golf and shake hands and kiss babies. And so you know, but if you were Brady, would you stroke Olsen a check for $7 million?
No.
I think I might.
7, I'd give him something, though. I'd feel terrible.
Well, I wouldn't feel terrible. I
wouldn't
mean,
feel. I would feel fine. They hired
I would
me.
Feel terrible. Yeah,
really.
Well, wouldn't you respect Greg Olsen's work ethic, and he made it from the B team to the A team, and because I'm Tom Brady, I just get to walk in and take his job, and like David said, dock him $7 million. I'd feel a little bad about that. I'd feel bad. I'm not saying Tom Brady will.
I wouldn't feel bad that he's quote unquote back with the B team. $7 million though, I mean, for me, Tom Brady, $7 million, not a lot of money. Greg Olson, that's a decent amount of change. I think I'd strike him a check
for $7 million.
I think I might. Yeah.
You are the most generous rich person. You need to hit a Powerball.
Oh my goodness. Do you know how many people who would make out? And I'm not even letting my wife spend any of it. That's just me. How much of it I would give away. Oh my goodness. If she gets half, holy Toledo. She might give Olsen $7 million once she hears the story. Yeah. I really do think I'd stroke him something. I don't know, maybe half of it. I do. I think I'd, hear a little something for the effort. I do.
So when in a year he gets that money back when he goes to NBC, do you want your money back?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
First off,
give him a dime. Not a single dime.
Well, I'll tell you what though, maybe upon further review, when he gets the Amazon gig for $10 million, maybe I'd say, well, you're doing okay. That 2-year hiatus, my gap year, if you will, and you did a Super Bowl and you established yourself, and now you got the Amazon gig because of it, and they're paying you the $10 million, so maybe I don't have to. I don't know. So candies, chocolate, cookies, I mean, and something,
if it was Jeter, he could give him a Grand Wagoneer so he could see the coyotes on the ride back from the airport. But
so I don't know. My first inclination was I feel a little bad. I mean, not totally. I want the gig, obviously. I agreed to it. And, hey, you got it for 2 years. Most people don't even get that.
I mean, this isn't like he's coming in demanding number 12 and he's paying off someone for a number.
Right. Have to admit, though, I think Olsen's made life a little harder for Tom Brady.
I definitely think he has.
Because
he's been good.
Yeah, people like him.
Do you think Brady will be as good or better than Olsen?
No.
I don't either.
And I also think Brady will be more critical, and I'll be fascinated if he is. I think Brady's going to be more like how Johnny Miller did golf. And Johnny Miller was very polarizing to the golf audience. There was a healthy part of the golf audience that didn't like him being so critical. And there was a healthy part that loved that finally somebody willing to talk about this stuff. Because there's never been any player in any sport have the gravitas that Tom Brady's going to have when he puts that headset on. If Tom Brady criticizes a coach or a player, I mean, I try to get Troy to even go a little bit more out there. And I tell him all the time, I go, there's never been a football announcer have your resume. I go, the closest is Merlin Olsen. I go, seriously. I mean, and until Brady puts the headset on, I think Troy Aikman has the best resume of any color analyst in the history of the sport. And so when you are that accomplished as a player, you can criticize more. We're accepting of it. They go, well, if Tom Brady says, quarterback screwed up there, I mean, who am I to think quarterback didn't screw up? But announcers are not negative by nature. They're not critical by nature. And they get far more grief when they are critical than when they're praiseworthy.
Which is why they're praiseworthy.
Right.
Because nobody wants criticism. Everybody wants to be liked. It's why Collinsworth will end up in last. It's why the Tarico Collinsworth has a good shot to finish in last place on our poll. Because Collinsworth can be critical, and people don't like him for it.
And so, and I think Brady, at least based on, I listened to his weekly talk show, which he's done for about 3 years now. Tom Brady is pretty opinionated. Now, Mark and I have talked about this a lot. People let their guard down a lot more on radio than they do on TV. a lot more. All right. I used to do local television. And when I was doing my radio show on location and I knew we were going to have a guest on site, that I probably want a soundbite from this person on the 6 o'clock news, I would bring the television gear and I would just have it set up. And then eventually, I'm interviewing so-and-so during the show. And then when the show's over, that, just the camera's right there. Stand in front of the camera. Here's the microphone. Go. They immediately tense up. You put that, Mark, you know,
light.
You put
it's
that
the light, David.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it seems weird. And I know from the first time, because I was doing radio, and the first time I did my first stand-ups on TV, I was stiff as a board.
Yep.
And I came back, and my boss at the time, Craig Jenkins, he's like, we got to work on you on camera. You're stiff, man. You got to loosen up. And it's just, you're so afraid to move, to make a mistake, and to look silly.
And for whatever reason, when you're on radio, you think 11 people are listening until you give away the free T-shirts, and then the phones light up. But otherwise, you think you're talking to 11 people. When you're on television, for whatever reason, you think everyone's watching. Except for most of the stations I worked for. We were in such distant third place. I mean, we were a court order away from second place. I mean, that's how far away we were. So I knew that my radio audience was bigger. It was like 11-9 radio to TV audience.
In that brawl in Anchorman, I know which team. I know what news team you were. You were definitely the third one to show up. Yes.
Totally. Yep. I mean, we would say things sometimes just to see if people were watching. Hey, anybody call the front desk afterwards? No. Oh, okay, good. Trent, you'll love this. Worked for ABC in Fort Myers, and we would do the news live after Monday Night Football. And same thing, that's when ABC had the Stanley Cup playoffs. And so there were a couple times that by the time they got to the sports, it was after 2:00 in the morning. And so one day I said, listen, I don't think anybody's watching right now. And so I put up a full screen graphic of our phone number in the sports office. I go, you call, you leave your name and number, and I will send you some ABC7 gear. And I held up like a shirt and a hat. And I said, listen, I don't even own these. I had to borrow these. Okay. I will give you some ABC7 swag. 7 people called.
People like free stuff.
But it was like 2:09 in the morning. But anyway.
The T-shirt theory, once again, proven true.
Yep.
Will the Brady theory be proven true? Will he be critical in the booth? And will you like it? I mean, that's the other side. Tom Brady's
right.
I don't know if he's universally liked, loved, but he's respected.
Oh, of course. So when he is critical of a coaching decision listen, I don't think Tom Brady would have sat back like Greg Olson and accepted Dan Campbell making the decisions that he made. I think Brady would have chimed in and said, listen, coach, we got to kick the field goal here. I know we've got, or maybe he would have more forcefully agreed with it. But I think Tom would have been stronger in that situation. And I don't know if you would have liked it as much.
You know what I find interesting? Tom Brady can't fake it if he doesn't like something. He cannot hide that smirk, that fake. He can't fake it. He can't just be fake. I like this. I like you. That was good. I didn't take offense to that. So that's going to be interesting if that comes through on the broadcast, because if it does, then he will be more critical and inevitably will be very entertaining to watch and listen to.
If you were Tom Brady's assistant, PR person, do you think this is a good thing he's doing, or are you going to say, you know what, your Q rating right now is this, your popularity is this, your Q rating is going to go up, your popularity is going to go down? Because I think it is. I think his popularity will go down the minute he puts a headset on.
There's no doubt. Because people just genuinely dislike some announcers no matter what.
So then that begs the question, is he just going to get in there and be happy, joy, and take the check?
I don't think so.
I don't think he can.
I don't either. But to David's point, if you want to stay likable, you want to stay popular,
Not necessarily, though. But, remember, some announcers come in and do it differently than it's ever been done before, and it actually captivates us. What if Tom becomes the most critical analyst there's never been anyone as credentialed as him. If anybody could be a critical analyst, it would be Tom Brady.
And will we be accepting of it, though? Because obviously his resume is a lot better than Johnny Miller, but Johnny Miller had a resume.
Yeah. It was pretty good. Hall of Famer, 26 wins, 2 majors. Yeah. When his prime, he was actually better than Jack for a couple of years. Right. It's still not Brady's resume. Pat Kirwan next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So my mom's getting on the train this afternoon.
Coming down, huh?
Yep. 18 hours.
Pat is joining us via phone today. Internet screwed up in the hodl.
Listen, Johnny O, I grew up wanting to be Kurt Gowdy. That was my broadcasting idol.
Not unless she was subpoenaed, Jake.
Although my best friend, my godson, and my mom is kind of like a second mom to my best friend and his family. And he graduates college in May, and I think she's going to fly
to Texas. Is that where he goes to college?
I think so. Yeah. She said that to me the other day. I'm like, what? And then, of course, I had to laugh. I go, you won't even fly for your only child. JB Vike, absolutely $1.98. Whatever you're paying here on Twitch, I'll reimburse you. Just send me the bill. What have I cost you? About $23 over the years? Done.
Oh.
What I was supposed to get from the spring football gig or what I got?
By the way, you trying to work UFL?
Can't. I just I put it in an inquiry, but Joe Spotters had put in an inquiry. We can't get straight answers from the networks as to who's broadcasting the games. So no. And I have to admit, with what I have going on in my house, I'm going to need to take the spring and summer off. My wife's going to have at least one knee replaced.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And the 8 o'clock hour on this final Tuesday of January means once again Pat Kirwan, he of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. CBS's NFL Today show, he's headed to Vegas, but that's next week. This week, Senior Bowl. Mobile, Alabama is where he joins us from. Top of the morning to you, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing fine, fellas. Year 35 at the Senior Bowl.
Wow.
I appreciated most of my life. 35 straight years. Here I am. Same hotel room as always. Just on the internet's not very good. Yeah, pretty excited. A lot of good players, and the influx of the juniors will be interesting. Today's the first practice. Right after I get done with you, I'll be over to the stadium to work on that. And by the time I talk to you on Friday, I'll have a pretty good feel for what's going on here. And I think typically this game produces 4 first-rounders and a bunch of seconds and a lot of thirds and most of the fourth. But I think we're going to have a few more first-rounders this year. So I'm very anxious to start. We start with the offensive line every year, and that's what I'll do. But I'm sure we want to talk about the two teams that lost and really handed the game to the opponents.
Well, let's start with Baltimore and Kansas City. Was it Lamar?
Yeah.
Was it Spags? Was it Moulton? When you look at the way that Baltimore's offense, 6 runs for their running backs, they didn't at all really attempt to try to establish a running game at all. Was it Moulton? Was it what Spags did? Was it Lamar? Where do you put the blame or the praise for that game?
I thought Spags was the best coach on the field for both games. You know, I talked to him before the game, and I talked to him at halftime, actually. I caught him in the hallway there. Spags had a tremendous game plan, and he was going to pressure the living daylights out of him, and he did. So he gets a big gold star. Monken did not really handle himself the way you have to in a game like that, and they panicked. They went 3 and out to start. They went Kansas City were right down and scored, and all of a sudden, I was watching an offense that wasn't the same, and it was kind of sad to watch, actually. And then, of course, when you have 4 sacks and 3 turnovers, and you're 3 of 11 on third down, I thought they got out of. They were never out of the game. In fact, the young kid Zay doesn't fumble going in, and then Lamar throws into triple coverage. They were probably going to win the game anyway, and probably not deserve it. But they didn't. And so I'll put a bunch of blame on Todd Monken. I'm sure he's not sleeping very well, thinking about all the things he could have, should have, would have. So there's that. And then I thought Lamar, unfortunately for Lamar, resurfaced the way he's looked in the past in playoff games. So it was very disappointing to stand on that field. I was on the field for most of the game. I went in a couple times, but it was, you never felt like Baltimore was playing on the balls of their feet. They always looked like they were on their heels, and I think they kind of lost confidence in themselves. It was a sad thing to see because they really had enough firepower to win the game, but they didn't. And that guy on the other side named Mahomes, don't screw up too many times because he'll take advantage of every one of them.
Well, his first half performance was outstanding. It's as good, really, as you can play the position. They complete 80% of your passes against the top defense in the league on the road, whatever elements they were dealing with. I mean, it was a marvelous, legendary performance, so that even though they had such few yards and few first downs in the second half, they really had set the tone. But do you also have to say to John Harbaugh, hey, you're wearing the headset? I mean, at some point, when do you say to Todd Monken, Todd, start running the ball? I mean, that's what head coaches who don't call plays do, Pat, right? Don't they get on their coordinators and go, hey, what are we doing? Get back to running the ball.
I've been in the locker room at halftime a couple hundred times. That's what the head coaches do. And they know from their Tuesday night meeting when they tell the coordinator, do I have to go over how much I want you to run the ball? No, coach. We're leading the NFL in rushing. We'll be there. And at halftime, the head coach always says, let me see the sheet, the call sheet. And I used to do the calls for defense, but the other guy would hand it to him. He'd go, hey, 6 runs, 3 runs, whatever the first is. No way. Get back to it. And intervene, as Bill Cowher said, he flipped that button on his headset many times right in the middle of the drive and said, you're going to run it right now. That's what I want, and that's what you're going to do. And apparently, John didn't do enough of that. So there's a lot of blame to go around, for sure. And at the end of the day, as I said before, Kansas City could not pull away from them.
No.
And that game was available to them right to the end. But it was, I think when I got done with Sunday, I just felt both losing teams blew it. And a lot of times I don't feel that way. I think, you have a great game and they're both battling it out. But I left Sunday night going, I don't think that Dan Campbell or John are going to get a lot of sleep for the night. And I was with the head coach yesterday on the plane, and he said, what do you think of the games? And I said, you're a head coach. Would you sleep at all if you were one of those losing coaches? He goes, no, I wouldn't. And that's how I felt. I felt like that's as much frustrating as it can be for a head coach. And he can look at himself and blame himself. We're going to talk about Dan here in a minute. Head coaches have to take over that stuff if, in fact, it's going philosophically in the wrong direction. But if you're going to keep turning the ball over and you're going to this is probably as important as anything. Yes, run the ball more. 2, Spags blitzing off the edges. Where was the screen game? They're coming like gangbusters. And, I didn't see any what I'd call anti-blitz plays.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, 3 to 7 weekdays. and he's part of CBS's NFL Today show, CBS with the Super Bowl in 12 days in Vegas. Pat joins us live from Mobile and the Senior Bowl, and he does so courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh.
Pat, were you surprised too? Because, I mean, I know Lamar ended up with 8 rushes, but a lot of those were scrambles that he escaped on. There were no real designed runs. It didn't seem like they – I thought Lamar would run the ball a hell of a lot more.
I thought he would too. And then there were an awful lot of – first of all, if you can put automatics in right in the middle of a game. And when I started seeing Chris Jones playing wide, almost a wide 9 outside, every one of those should have been an inside run check. Remember, Noddy didn't play. Chris Jones is lining up outside. I'd be bringing it downhill. And, you know, if you don't see that before, it's not really part of your game plan. You get in the game and the guy upstairs is going, hey, they're checking Chris Jones outside on these particular downs. Then you just filled it in. Tell your quarterback he's out there. And a lot of times the center can make the call for you. If let's say the quarterback's flustered and he's having a hard time, the center he knows what Chris Jones was. He can make the check and hand the ball off inside. Things that you would expect a good high school coach and a good high school quarterback to be able to do.
Well, he told us he was going to coach this way the whole year, and he did, including in the NFC Championship game. You know, it's the equivalent of the basketball team, live by the 3, die by the 3, the whole deal. As it was unfolding live, did you agree in the second half with Dan's decisions twice to go for it 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and bypass a 46 and a 48-yard field goal attempt?
He should have kicked the field goal. And it was interesting. He had all the momentum at halftime, all of it. And San Francisco did not appear that they felt like they could stop the running game and some of the things. And I thought the offensive line for Detroit, for the most part, you know, both was going to get 1 or 2, but for the most part, they were controlling the line of scrimmage and they're up 24-7. And when they come out for the third quarter and they hold San Francisco to a field goal, and so San Francisco didn't get any momentum off that field goal. I think they were frustrated they couldn't get a touchdown out of it. Then you start coming down the field with 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and you held them to a field goal, 24-10, kick the field goal. So you know I'm standing there with Coach Cowher, and Coach goes, they're going to kick the field goal, right? He says, don't count on it, and boom, they didn't. And Bill always wants to talk about the consequences of those decisions when they don't work. It's all nice when it works, and I'm all for his risk-taking. He doesn't have to do it all the time. And I said to your man, Trent, a minute ago, the only decision I'm going to make probably yesterday was I'm going to hire a 65-year-old former head coach who's retired. He doesn't have to come to practice. He just has to be in a booth on Sundays and talk directly to me in all those at the crossroads moments. And, yeah, you don't have to make him go for the field goal every time, but I would have absolutely gone for it to make it 27-10 and keep the momentum away. And that's Bill Cowher's point. It's the momentum-changing reality. And all of a sudden, San Francisco's adrenaline is pumping. All 53 and the coaches, their adrenaline's pumping, and all of a sudden Detroit hasn't. And I turned to Jimmy Miller and said, watch this, Jim. Now that they didn't make it, here's the consequences of it. And no one can prove this, including me. But I said, watch how many drop passes there are. Watch how many missed tackles there are. Watch where doubt crawls in. And he has a very good football team. And I think, I applaud Dan for at first, if they weren't going to get to that game without the way he coached and his risk-taking. But in that moment, maybe this is the way I should say it. There's 2 ways you call plays. You call plays when you're losing, and you call plays when you're winning. And sometimes I can't tell the difference there. But in that situation, to get to 27-10, oh, by the way, I walked the field. The field was in great shape. It was not slipping. There was no wind. The flags at the top of the poles were just straight down. In the Baltimore game, that's my first point about the kicking game. It wasn't affected. And where he was playing, what are we talking about? Kick the field goal. Do you guys disagree with that?
I agree with you 100% on the first one, Pat. The second one, I didn't have as much of a problem. And I guess I was where you were next to Cower because I'm sitting there going, he's going to go for it. I didn't even compute kicking because it didn't seem like that was going to happen. And obviously, Campbell goes for it twice, and we all know the result. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show. Pat joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers, where you cannot fake fresh.
Pat is live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile. Practices start this morning. So on Friday, when Pat joins us, we will talk exclusively Senior Bowl, what he's seen, what he's heard, who looks like what, etc. A couple of high-profile quarterbacks are in Mobile, so there will be a lot to talk about. More with Pat on the games on the other side.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How you doing, boys?
Doing good. Thanks for the tickets, Pat. Good game. They lost.
Oh yeah, I watched part of it walking down the street in Baltimore. I had it on my phone. So.
It's a good game. They dominated, but they couldn't score.
Yeah, I saw the shots on goal and I said, man, they're playing good. They just can't score.
Can't score.
That goalie was pretty good when I watched from the night before.
Yeah, he played well. One good fight.
Yeah, usually we get most of the fights right down at your end there.
Yeah, and then they had. It was affiliate night, so they had the Panthers mascot there. I was amazed how many people were wearing Panther jerseys at the games.
Really?
Yeah, I was stunned. I mean, I know how many Everblades jerseys there always are there. That doesn't surprise me. But there were a lot of people wearing Florida Panther gear at the game. I was really surprised. I didn't know there were that many Florida Panther fans in Southwest Florida.
It's funny you say that. One of the guys I see up at the bar every time I go up there between periods, he's always asking me to go with him to Panther games. And he was with a group of, he's always with the same group of guys, and they're all season ticket holders for the Panthers. So, and I never thought there was a lot of them, but I hear from him every week that I'm there. So, come on, get in the car. I said, I can't. What are you guys talking about? I work till 7:00. Oh, I did like. Man, I'll tell you. I think Kyle Hamilton's going to be a superstar.
Oh my goodness! How about that one sequence he had in the third quarter where they go deep on first down? He breaks it up.
Oh, of course, he just breaks up.
on second down, he comes off the slot.
There we go.
He fights through the block and nails the receiver for a 1-yard gain. And then on third down, he blitzes. Okay. And I mean, it's the best sequence by a safety since like Reed or Palomalu. It was amazing.
Yep. And actually, Bill Cowder called him Troy Polamalu. He goes, I haven't seen anyone look like Troy. No one's reminded me of Troy except that guy.
Which also then caters to how great Kelsey was, for Kelsey to have the game that he had. Now, granted, they played a lot more zone, Pat, than I thought they were going to play, because I don't think you can play Kelsey zone. But, he caught the touchdown pass on Hamilton. Hamilton hadn't given up a TD all year. I mean, Kelsey was remarkable.
Well, that pass was on the pocket. That was not just a back shoulder fade. It was a back shoulder fade right at the hip. I mean, I thought the coverage was awesome.
Perfect.
And
yeah,
I think that guy's going to be ridiculous. Now, I will say this: they're the team that's going to have the hardest time keeping the roster close together. They got a lot of guys that are really good.
And also they've got a couple of the key guys who haven't gotten paid yet either. Queen hasn't gotten paid yet. The defensive tackle hasn't gotten paid yet.
No, they're not going to keep. They can't keep them all. They're going to franchise tag Matabuke, and they're going to say goodbye to Zeitler, Odell, Gus Edwards, Patrick Queen, Clowney, Stone, Simpson. They're all going to be gone.
They should keep Queen. They should find a way to keep him.
He wants Roquan.
I know. Well, you would too.
He's going to get it on the outside.
I know. And I know you say you can't pay your inside linebackers $40+ million, but I don't know. They've got 2 sideline to sideline linebackers, and most teams don't have one. I'll tell you what, if I'm the Lions, I'd pay Patrick Queen. Holy blank.
You ain't kidding. No, Patrick, I talked to him. I had him on the show the other day, and I've talked to him a couple of times. He wants to stay, but I said, just keep telling me you want to stay, because you're not.
By the way, Lama, the Lions did not have a failed 4th down in the first half. Don't know what you're talking about. They didn't. They did not turn the ball over on downs in the first half. Touchdown, punt, touchdown, field goal were their possessions in the first half. So you're misremembering, buddy. I'm just talking to somebody in the Twitch chat room, Pat.
No. I know that. So the head coach I was with on the plane was Brian Babel. When I said, those guys aren't sleeping, he looks at me and goes, don't I know about it?
Yeah, really.
Okay, we're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. He'll head to Vegas next week. This week it's in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl, the 35th Senior Bowl for Pat Kirwan. Very quickly, is it a bigger deal now from a scouting standpoint than it was?
Well, the Senior Bowl has had a lot of success getting people drafted, and everyone's aware that they had 100 drafted last year, and everybody who came and played in the game got an NFL contract. So when you get 100 drafted, you basically the whole team, the whole game. So people study that stuff, and then they look at the success rate of those players. There's a couple teams that feed off the Senior Bowl. Seattle comes to mind. They love. Now, we'll see what happens with the new coach and all that business, but John Snyder has always been a big believer in it. And you can look at rosters and figure out. Now, there's less guys. It's interesting, your question, because I think a lot of guys, not a lot, more than usual, stay home now and watch all the practices, and their scouts are here. The other thing they've done to make this game really, really interesting for the personnel people is that the structure of the interview process is better here than at the combine. You get more time with the players. that's structured so that you know when you're getting every guy, and you can actually get to almost every player you want to. And that means you don't need to interview them again at the combine, which means you can turn around at the combine and take on another wave of guys that you haven't talked to. But I hear all the personnel guys tell me how much they love the interview process here, which Jim Nagy did a good job of restructuring that. And he was an NFL scout for a long time, so he knew what he wanted, and he built it in. So they've done a very nice job of giving you the reason to come here and create a lot of information.
Yeah, it sounds like the combine speed dating when they talk to him, and that the Senior Bowl, they can actually sit down and have a conversation and get a little bit more out of these players as the scouting process continues. I want to go back to the games and the Lions for a bit here. You know, Dan Campbell said it's going to be twice as hard. There's a lot up again. If you're the Lions, what change outside of the coaching, what changes have to be made to that team, Pat?
Well, first off, they're a very young team, and you continue to grow with them. You need two things. Get Jared Goff signed, which they say they're going to do. It'll be a big, fat deal, and we'll look at the details when they finally get it in there. But you can't go backwards at quarterback, and it's not Hendon Hooker's time yet. So get Goff locked up. And then really focus on getting another draft. I mean, their optimism for how they draft and the kind of guys they get is pretty good. So they're not going to suffer a lot of setbacks. Personally, I think Josh Reynolds, a couple of guys, but when I looked at this, I love to acknowledge the good players in the losing efforts. Montgomery played terrific. LaPorta was great. Jameson finally exploded. McNeil is a gigantic force inside, and even Malcolm Rodriguez is a really great example of why Dan's a good head coach. He saw a lot of merit in Malcolm when people thought he's a special teamer only, and he played pretty darn good the other day. So they've got a great core. They're going to have to shake off this feeling, but in Detroit, I had calls all day yesterday. They wanted to win, and they were crying after the game. But when they took a deep breath and thought about where we've been for 50-some-odd years, they love where this team is. And most of them keep acknowledging Dan's a riverboat gambler, and I'm okay with that. Well, and my point is, yeah, that was fine when you were building and growing, but you're good now. You need to think about that stuff. And if you think you're going for it because of analytics, fire the analytics department. If you're going for it because you don't trust your kicker, go buy a kicker. Those are the things I'd say about Detroit.
Yeah, I'd have to admit, I wonder if Dan had the kickers who were in the Ravens-Chiefs game, would he still be coaching the way he is, or would it not matter? It will be interesting to see if he adjusts his thinking next year now that they've proven they're a good team. Do you think, year to year, Pat, this league changes dramatically, and that's, Detroit didn't have a lot of injuries this year. It's tough to go 2 years in a row without a lot of injuries. So when you look at the Lions, do you think this is the beginning of a 5-year run, or do you think they're more Jacksonville Jaguars year to year?
They have more core players that are really going to be terrific. Gibbs is ridiculously good. I don't hear anybody calling for a defensive tackle instead of Gibbs in the draft. That's happened. They've got two great receivers. The tight end is going to be a superstar. I would now, and I think the offensive line has been their strength for a long time, I would be looking to take more linemen in the draft high. They're getting a little long in the tooth. The center's beat up, and he'll fight through it. There's where I would be going for my extra two players. Don't bring back Vaitai, those kind of guys. Go get 2 high draft picks, an inside player and a tackle, groom them, and before you know it, whether it's via injury or age, both of those guys will step on the field. So that for sure I'd do. And we absolutely know they need another pass rusher. So I don't think they need a lot. I think that linebacker opinion of yours, David, is warranted. Go get Patrick Queen. You got all these young guys. You're not paying them a lot. You can structure Jared Goff's deal to not kill the cap. So I think they're close, and I don't think they're going to fade because I think they're young, and I do love this coach. I'll be interested to see how, and I'm going to spend a few days in the summer over there with him, and I'm going to see him at a couple of events here, and we get a chance to talk. He's a very interesting guy. And off the year, I'll ask him, how's he looking at himself in the mirror?
It'll be interesting to see if they make changes. I will say, though, Pat, for the first time, if you're a Lions fan, you can look at, GM, ownership, coach. They seem stable for the first time, maybe in my lifetime.
Yeah, and I think beyond your lifetime, if you really want to think about it, you're a young man. They've been a Mets for a long time. But I don't see a problem. I said before, I'd be putting an old retired head coach up in a booth to occasionally suggest, let's kick this one, that kind of stuff. Someone he trusts, someone from his past that he knows that he can, because I know guys who've had the job, and I know head coaches that don't listen to him. One guy said to me, he goes, it drove me crazy. I'm paid to tell him when not to do something, and when I talk to him, he does it anyway. So I said, why don't you go somewhere else? And he eventually just quit and went home. He was tired of it all. But
Pat, we have
great optimism for them, and I don't think Chicago and Minnesota are catching them. Green Bay will be right in the mix, but not as good as them.
All right, we have about a minute. It looks like the Commander's job is either going to be the offensive coordinator of Detroit or the defense coordinator of the Ravens. But Seattle is interesting. They've interviewed a bunch of people, Dan Quinn twice. If I'm Dan, I'm thinking I'm not getting the job because they've had plenty of opportunity to hire me. Do you have any idea what Seattle is doing and thinking?
McDonald's in there today, right?
I thought, yeah, he was in Washington yesterday.
Yeah, I think McDonald's will be the one who's going to get one of these two jobs. And if I'm Seattle, I'd be taking McDonald. And I wish they'd take Dan, but I don't think that's going to happen. I wish it would, but I think it's going to be McDonald up there.
Dan was seen in Mobile yesterday wearing his Cowboys stuff because he's still the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile all week. And then he'll head to Vegas next week as part of CBS's Super Bowl coverage. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and over a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, enjoy Senior Bowl week. We'll look forward to talking again on Friday.
All right. Be good, fellas. Talk to you Friday.
Pat Kirwan here on Miller and Moulton.
Well, he talked all the Lions fans off the ledge today. They should be a little calmer. I even see a smile on Trent's face over there.
Wow. First one in 2 days. Way to go, Pat.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, boy. Gonna have to dial 10 digits every time you call in Jacksonville now. You got a new...
Yep. But I have a cell phone that's 239, so I've had to do it anyway.
Your Flyers are starting to fade, Logic Man. You can't really pay the OC to stay there, Tartar. I mean, if he gets the job, he gets the job.
They also essentially did that last offseason. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
But he was kind of in the mix for some jobs.
For Carolina,
that
he turned right.
They decided to pay him some more. And
the only thing you can do is you could say, is that really the job you want? If we gave you another $1 million, would you stick around another year? Because is that really the job you want?
yeah, I think that's the better way to put it. Like, they could pay him to think. They can't pay him to stay because they can't pay him what he can get as a head coach.
And a head coach is a head coach.
Correct.
And there's only 32 of these jobs. I mean,
so to David's point, it's more of, hey, we'll give you a couple more million or whatever, or another $1 million, and you can, have a job next year.
Well, that's just it, CBW. It may not be a bad job. And you're picking second. So in theory,
you'd be getting this quarterback. But I think it's important too that, Pat brought it up. Like, the Lions, barring injuries, that offense isn't going anywhere. Every single guy's young.
Well, not the interior of the O-line, but yeah. They need to buy a defense next year. If they draft some offensive linemen in the late rounds and they develop them, but they need to spend the top of the draft on defense. Take the best corner on the board at 29. Well, there's no doubt, Tartar, if you hire the wrong coordinators. Well, He obviously thought, remember, Canales knows who he's working with. Him and Dan Morgan are friends. They work together in Seattle. So Canales trusted who he was going to work for.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour and the Diamond District bonus hour on this final Tuesday of January. Thanks so much for being with us. Hey, we were talking about it during the break. Our poll question is, we threw the 4 A-team NFL announcers out there and said, which one do you like best? Buck Aikman, Nance Romo, Tirico Collinsworth, or Burkhart and Olson, which will become Burkhart and Brady, the law firm of, next fall. So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Last I glanced, Buck and Aikman were winning.
Decisively, getting half of the vote right now. Burkhart and Olson getting 27% of the vote, and then Tirico Collinsworth, Nance Romo splitting the rest of the vote with 11% each.
So we were talking during the break, though. There's 2 head coaching jobs available in the NFL. If you were the hotshot coordinator, Ben Johnson in Detroit, Mike McDonald, the Ravens defensive coordinator, are these jobs good enough to say yes to, Mark?
If Canales is going to accept the Carolina job, these jobs are good enough for coordinators. But I know the point you're making. And I think so, David. There's just 32 jobs in this league. You're only going to get so many chances. You can't keep passing over coaching jobs when you go into next year knowing that Belichick probably gets one of them.
Now, remember, in Ben Johnson's case and Mike McDonald's case, this is the most serious they've ever, they're, infants, if you will, on the stage. So they're going to have a lot more opportunities. This is the beginning for them. This is the first time they're getting a second interview for a head coaching job. I mean, McDonald's never been interviewed for a head coaching job, I don't believe, until this cycle. Ben Johnson was in the mix for the Carolina job last year. So put it this way. If Daniel Snyder was still the owner of the Commanders and you were Ben Johnson or Mike McDonald's really good friend, would you tell him to take the job?
No, I'd tell him not to take the job.
Okay. So now, how sold are you that things are going to be different? The Canales connection, which does need to be pointed out, he and Dan Morgan, who's now VP general manager of the Panthers, they worked together for years in Seattle. They're friends. They know one another. So Canales, who, let's face it, can't have a lot of faith in the owner of the Carolina Panthers, but Canales has the faith in Dan Morgan. They both got 6-year contracts. Tepper in Carolina is doing what San Francisco did in 2017 when they put Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch together and gave Meach 6-year deals. We'll see if it works out.
It with a cocktail in his hand.
Yes. Yeah. And he threw it at a waitress, but that's okay. He's rich. He can afford the new blouse. Anyway, and I'm just wondering, are these jobs, is it just, hey, there's only 32 of these suckers and I'm, really only 31 because I'm currently employed and that job's not opening up. So I have to take, if I'm offered an NFL head coaching job, I have to say yes.
No, you don't have to say yes, but I don't think either of them are in a position right now where they can be saying no. And I understand that they're infants, but very quickly the hotshot coordinator can become the not hotshot coordinator overnight. And I don't think either of these jobs are Carolina. Like, I wouldn't have advised anyone, and I know the connection there, and I get it that you just explained. I wouldn't have advised anyone to take the Carolina job. Because I don't know how, I mean, you're going to need 3 years, period, just to turn that around to mediocre. That's a horrible roster.
Yeah, I think best case scenario is if they do everything right the way Detroit did, that maybe by the second half of year 2, they could start to see some progress. But literally, you'd have to nail 2 off seasons. That's how bad that roster is.
And you don't have the draft picks to do it with either, David. I mean, that's the other side of it. So I like the Seattle job more than I like the Washington job.
Interesting. Because I look at divisions first. And so in the next handful of years, the 2-3 years that, I think I'm going to get. Can't count on life beyond 3 years, but I think I'm going to get 2 to 3. What's my road going to look like in division in the next 2 to 3 years? Would I rather be in the NFC East or in the NFC West? I don't know how much longer the Niners' shelf life is with this core. I definitely think it's next year. I think 25 will be interesting.
A lot of people need to get paid in San Francisco for them to keep that intact.
Well, and 7 of them already have, and those salaries are really starting to kick in. And how much I got 2 more years of Brock Purdy as a 7th round pick salary. I mean, he's not even making $1 million. I mean, they got 2 more years of that. So that's how long I think the Niners window is. Plus, I don't know if Christian McCaffrey is still Christian McCaffrey after 2025. The wear and tear on Debo. They do more blocking in this system than most others. I mean, just Kittle. So, Trent Williams will be gone by then. Those linebackers won't be bullets shot out of a gun 2 years from now the way they are now. So, but the Rams are on the proverbial come, and goodness knows Arizona is only going to get better. The East is interesting. The Giants are a mess. The Cowboys' shelf life here could be short.
But, David, the Washington roster's not a great roster.
2nd overall pick of the draft, though. In theory, you're getting your quarterback.
They stocked up a bit too by selling their D linemen.
Yep.
They did.
No, you're right. But that means you got to get right. You've got to be right on all these.
Oh, yeah.
picks.
But you're at least you've set it in motion. You're kind of doing it the right way. They have a high pick and they sold away some of their talent.
So, the Eagles, this will be very interesting. What's going on here? They got key guys who are old. They got some of their best players who are really young. How much longer are the Eagles at the top of the NFC, chart, if you will? Same with the Cowboys, who I think from a contractual standpoint, Dak's entering the final year of his deal. And if you think he's making too much now, wait until the next contract. So Washington with the 2nd overall pick and a boatload of cap room.
How patient will their new ownership group? How patient are they going to be?
I will
Seattle's
say,
going to be a lot more patient. They're
true, but Josh Harris, in owning the Sixers and the Devils, has been a very patient owner. I mean, I know the NFL; it's a different animal, but Mark, he was very patient with the Sixers and the Devils. They both went through fairly long rebuild processes. In fact, the one was called The Process.
Sounds like you take the Washington job.
I would. I think the Eagles and definitely the Cowboys situation is fragile. I think Dallas will be good in 2024. I think Dallas could get blown up after 2024. I really do. Particularly at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Because the other thing is they're going to have to pay Micah Parsons a year from now. And he'll be making Errol Donald money.
And deservedly so.
And so if you got a $30 million,
right?
You got the $20 million corner, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. I mean, your top 4 players are going to be making $100 to $110 million. Actually, they're going to be making maybe more. And Jerry overpays too. I mean, he's going to have his top 4 guys on the roster making damn near half the cap. So, and to me, the Eagles situation this year, from a chemistry standpoint, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, I mean, boy, what a difference a year makes.
Got third coordinator in 3 years. I mean, there's a lot more.
Lane Johnson, Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, key guys, how many of them come back? And if they do come back, you can only figure on 2024. So, Philly's an interesting. The Giants are a mess, not a good roster, and don't have a quarterback. I really think I'd take the Washington gig.
And those are the 2 jobs that are remaining. Just a little dive into both Seattle and Washington as to where the potential best job may be. We're asking in our poll question today, who do you think the best announcing crew is? Buck and Aikman right now getting the overwhelming majority of the vote at nearly 50% of the vote. The other 3 are picking up the loose change. Burkhart and Olsen at nearly 30%, Nance and Romo at about 13%, and Tirico and Collinsworth bringing up the rear.
Curious if our audience is representative of a national audience.
Or if there's a little bias because they're afraid to vote against Aikman and Buck because they know you work for Aikman.
Why? It's not like I'm going to reach through the radio and, slap anybody. I mean, there's no
You've tried.
No,
Don't act like you haven't tried before. At least to me, you have.
I was going to say only to the co-hosts. Co-hosts and producers, I threaten violence to. Listeners love the listeners. Suck up to the listeners. My goodness. The only people I suck up to in the world, actually, is our audience.
No, certainly not your bosses.
No. Not my wife, daughter. All right. Very respectful of my mom. Don't suck up to her, but I'm very respectful. Sucked up to my grandparents. I did. Man, I adored them.
You have to. It's kind of a rule.
They were the best.
Grandparents are the best.
Yeah. Sucked up to the grandparents. I did.
It's like every time my mom babysits, my mom looks right at my daughter and says, "What are the rules at Grammy's house?" And my daughter answers back, "There are no rules at Grammy's house."
There you go.
It's what we all lived for.
Yep.
Anarchy at the grandparents.
So, by the way, Mom's getting on the train today. She's getting on the train in like 6 hours. 18-hour train ride heading to Jacksonville. Gets here tomorrow morning. I'm going to have to bug out an hour early, actually, tomorrow. I got to pick Mom up. Train station's not close. I can't ever sit in at the train station for like 2 hours.
Mom likes the train, doesn't she?
Does not like to fly. I even flew her down here for my daughter's wedding. I flew her down here first class.
And that wasn't good enough for her?
Gave her the window.
That's the only way I'll do it now.
No. She said, it was tolerable. I go, well, it cost me like 1.4 million points, so I hope it was tolerable. My goodness.
Well, let her sign up for those frequent flyer miles on the train. She should have that built up by 2060.
Yeah, no question. I'll use all those Amtrak miles. It's in the 2030s. Absolutely. So, yeah, Mom's coming down for a week. We're going to eat so badly. Oh, my goodness. I hope I don't have a doctor appointment anytime soon. To my cholesterol, blood pressure, my A1C, off the charts. It's going to be spectacular. My wife's having trouble getting around. She can't stop me. It's been glorious. You think I eat bad now? Wait till my mom gets to town. Why do you think I eat bad? My mom. Oh, it's great.
I've got nothing for that. Mom's coming down. We're going to eat like
awful. We're going to eat so badly. It'll be great.
What's going to be the go-to? What's the first good meal you're having?
Well, the first thing my mom's going to do is we're going to go to Krispy Kreme virtually every morning. Right by the hotel is a Krispy Kreme. She loves Krispy Kreme. As soon as the show's over, I'll pick her up. We'll go hit Krispy Kreme. And then as we're eating the Krispy Kreme, we'll decide in an hour and a half, 2 hours, where are we going for lunch?
That's Nothing like that vacation, having breakfast to determine where you're going to have lunch and have lunch to determine where you're going to have dinner. It's all we do, David, is figure out where we're going to eat next.
Yep. Some conversation with a few adults and then maybe with a 2-year-old right around dinner. That's about it. That'll be the week. Back on the train. See ya.
How long is that train ride?
18 hours.
18
She got a sleeper.
hours.
She got a sleeper though. She could, she gets horizontal for about, 5, 6, 7 hours there. I mean, she's not sitting up the whole time. Costs about the same as a round trip airfare.
To do it on the train.
Yeah, and she much prefers it.
I'd wear that bar car out.
She doesn't really drink anymore. So,
I mean, you get a little buzz, get a nap. Wake up, get a little buzz, get a little nap. You know what? Now figuring this out, this train thing might not be all bad. I think you're on to something, Moulton.
It's a cruise on rails.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Do you follow Greg Swaim?
Yeah.
Did you see the tweet he just sent out?
I did not.
Wow, he said he's dying.
Okay.
Said apparently he's got a lifelong medical condition. His parents were told that he wouldn't live to be 20. And Greg said the doctors were only off by over 41 years. But I'm going into hospice soon. And then he's on a ventilator almost all day. And, said he hopes to see football season, but, no guarantees.
Wow.
Over 80,000 followers he has.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this? You guys are talking
Greg
about?
Swaim. I don't know if we had him on since you were here. He's does a show. He's big into he was big on the whole ACC breakup and the Big 12 and all that. We had him on a lot with conference realignment because he had a lot of good sources.
Yeah, he's very Big 12 connected.
Texter just brought up a good point. Kellen Moore was a hotshot coordinator that was going to get a head coaching job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so that's
My mom says, tell Mark they bring the booze to you and the first one's free.
Oh,
get that man a drink and buy his dog one too.
You can probably get booze onto the train pretty easily, right? Or no?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it on the plane easily. You're just not supposed to. Johnny O, I saw that same thing. They put a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts on top of each other, then smashed it, compacted it into one thick donut. And it's like dripping with grease. It's disgusting. But Krispy Kreme.
It's dripping with glazed.
Here we go.
It's not
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is time for the Diamond District Bonus Hour on this final Tuesday of January. Thanks so much for being with us. We are Miller and Moulton, kicking it around, making the transition. Yes, having to talk about the entire sports scene. I know. We could right now play college basketball trivia. Who's the number one team in the country? It's UConn. Yeah. Women, South Carolina, they're unbeaten. They're 19-0. Yeah.
And they've beaten everybody by 60.
All right. How many Florida teams, male and female, are ranked in the top 25? Answer 1. The FAU men. That's it. Huh? Yeah, just there you go. Little trivia about a sport. You can win a bar bet or two, and then you have to start paying attention soon. Thursday, it's February, and then it's only a month away from when you really start paying attention.
I feel that with sports gambling being as big as it is now, brackets have taken a back seat. Every sports talk show in the country was about your brackets and the standings and all those kinds of things for March Madness. I feel like that has taken a complete back seat because of sports gambling, and that's okay.
We have to do brackets, though, right? Are we going to do brackets, the three of us? Can you
Well,
guys do
of
that for
course.
me? That's all I ask.
Of course.
Okay, great.
I mean, what we try to do is actually have a bracket on our website and have a promotion and get a sponsor and all that.
So if
And-
you're looking to sponsor a bracket promotion, it's available.
And then you
What
get
the hell isn't?
And then you get thousands of people who, participate, and it's really cool. And then, of course, you then have to have the elimination bracket when after the first weekend, our picks all suck. There's like 18 of you that filled out a good-looking bracket. So then we have to have another, one for the rest of us. I do have a question for the two of you, because I am not gambling via the Hard Rock app. How many parlays, how many player props, I should say, how many player prop bets do you guys do?
Oh, David, I haven't made a bet in a long time because I don't have money to gamble. There's a key thing about gambling. You have to have money.
In theory,
I don't
you
have
really
any.
do. Okay. Well, Trent doesn't have any, but
yeah,
he
and I can't do what
sacrifices.
he does.
He sacrifices his ramen noodles, okay, so he can place that $3 bet on an Oklahoma City NBA game. I'm curious, Trent, how often do you bet player props?
Honestly, most of what I do is player props, David.
Really?
Yes. I love the player props. I love doing LeBron's points, rebounds, assists, over under. I love doing the first goal scorer. I love doing over 1.5 touchdowns for this quarterback. That kind of stuff is what really keeps me invested, because sometimes when you don't have a rooting interest as far as who wins the game, that really keeps you invested.
And that's why I have suggested to you, David, that you and I have a mutual bank account, the Miller and Moulton account. And I have suggested that we put some money in the Hard Rock app and completely parlay and prop the hell out of it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Finish the show every day making one bet.
There you go. One bet.
I mean, we can make more than that, but.
So Trent has his play of the day, which he does in our 7:00 hour. Miller and Moulton can have their bet of the day.
Or the parlay of the day.
Pick of the day, whatever. Right. Here's the problem, though. We don't agree on anything. So, what? One day we're going to go with my pick. Next day we're going to go with your pick.
No. Here, how about this? You each give one. We parlay them together. I'll put them in the Hard Rock app. I'll tell our listeners what the odds are. So you take Mark's bet, David's bet, parlay them. It's now plus 470. And then we'll see who's hits and who's doesn't every single day.
You're actually saying that we'll each get our pick of the day right at the same time.
Oh, it's only one. You might. You guys would surprise yourselves. You're a lot sharper than you think. You guys have had a good year on your picks.
Don't you love it when the young person in the room is like, you two old guys, you're not as clueless as you think.
No, I'm saying
that's just how it sounds. That's trust me. My daughter sounds that way talking to her parents all the time. Okay, translation, you're not nearly as big a moron as sometimes I say you are, and mostly you think you are.
You guys have been good on your picks.
We've been decent. I went 1 for 2 last night. I took the 2 home teams and the points in the nationally ranked college basketball games. Vatech did not cover. Texas did, albeit by just a half. But hey.
And there's a lot of them tonight.
Yeah, see?
There's a lot of ranked college basketball's got a pretty decent slate tonight. A lot of ranked teams on the road.
Now, see, Trent, this is something that Miller and Moulton will do. All right. We would, just for the heck of it, take a look at the slate tonight and say, you know what? Give me all the home unranked teams. $2 a bet. Let's go.
Well, that's the thing I've got to be able to wrap my head around, is that I lost a lot of money gambling basketball before I was married. So let's go 12, 13 years ago. I lost a lot of money, way more than I should have been gambling. And I really love the action. The problem is that a $5 or a $10 bet is an action to me. It should be. It should be enough.
Well, how about this? You were just doing that privately. So, you needed your own quote unquote action. Could the action be that we're doing this publicly?
It could be.
And so our egos, reputation, credibility, that's where we're getting the action from.
Because it may be, because I don't know if I can get that back. Because yesterday I was in my real estate office, and the guy that I work with, and he's just going through the Hard Rock app going, hockey game tonight, 6.5. I'll take the under. Now, he lost on it, but he can just look at a game and just fire without hesitation. I don't know if see, the problem is I'm like Fred Flintstone. Bet. I don't know if I can stop. I'm able to turn off. I can turn off the swearing bug for 4 hours. I can turn off the drinking bug if I need to. The food and gambling, they are really, really difficult for me to shut off when I turn them on.
Quick sidebar. Did you see the meme that was going around yesterday? I forget which, show it was. I don't know if it was Family Guy or what have you. And they said it's Dan Campbell playing blackjack. And it's 10, hit me, 13, hit me, 18, hit me, 21, hit me, 30, hit me. Okay, right. So that's the real estate guy you work for, by the way. He just boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
boom,
yeah.
boom. Yep. But like tonight, K-State at home, unranked. Oklahoma on the road, ranked. K-State's actually a 3.5-point favorite. Ohio State tonight at home against ranked Illinois. Illinois, a 2.5-point favorite. I mean, that's screaming upset.
Yeah.
That's Villanova.
They're favored.
I have no idea how Villanova's favorite. They're falling apart like a cheap suit. All right. They're talking about Kyle Neptune may not make it to year 3. And yet Villanova's a 1.5-point favorite tonight at home against top 10 Marquette. But Georgia Tech tonight. Remember, see, Duke's on the horizon here. And Carolina's won how many in a row? 8, 10. I mean, they are on a roll. They're at Georgia Tech tonight. Georgia Tech's getting 8.5. So if we were doing this, we'd play 2 bets tonight. We'd take Georgia Tech and the 8.5, and we'd take Kansas State and lay the 3.5.
Yeah, then you're not going to take the Buckeyes and the 2.5?
Oh, I'm sorry, and the Buckeyes and the 2.5. So that would be our, our triple play. If you
there's a 3-team parlay right there.
Right there.
I can have money. I can have this bet done in minutes. It's just a couple of buttons and I'm firing.
And, once again, we'll bet every day how much Trent makes. $7. Not an hour, by the way. That's what he makes per show. He's like Brock Purdy. All right.
That's all right. I think Trent's fired 4 bets during this segment. Once the Hard Rock app came up, a smile was on his face, his hand was on his phone, and he's ready to go. How many bets did you just fire?
Well, I just deposited $10. I have
5 plays.
No, hold on. Over under 3 bets. How many bets is there?
I'll stretch that to an over, but it'll probably be 4 or 5. It won't be I'm not doing 10 $1 bets.
Fantastic. Love that. Put $10 on my account. How many bets? Over under 3.5. Oh, over. For sure. Over.
People wondering why these things are going to make money.
Right. Yep. And just, imagine if the Supreme Court takes up the case and the decision goes a certain way, how much money is going to be generated. Anyway, so, all right, I'm game. Now, I will say this, though. If we start making prop bets, like the night Lucas scored 73, I guess his point, rebound, assist, over under was 44.5. And like one tout said it was his play of the day, under.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, 44.5. He talked about how he had done against Atlanta and, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think it was rebounds and assists. It was like points and one of the other 2. Over under 44.5. It was his play of the day, under. Right.
73?
73 points.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, as a big LeBron fan, that is the most fun bet to take when you're just watching a player you love. Over, points, rebounds, assists. Take the over every time because you're just watching him out there and anything he does works towards your bet.
Right. Unders are no fun.
No.
They're winning the whole time, but unders are no fun. I get it.
Well, listen, like for the longest time in hockey, you bet the under. There was no goal scoring in the NHL for a long time. There's starting to be in the last few years some goal scoring again. That's actually one you got to think about from time to time. But I mean, with the scoring that's going on in the NBA right now, and I know that Vegas makes adjustments, but how could you take the under on an NBA bet right now? I mean, for goodness, the Mavs in Orlando scored 260 points last night in regulation. 131, 129.
The over-unders are getting in the 240s.
I don't know. I'm just letting you know, if we start making those bets, then we officially have a problem. And especially the player prop bets. Just
you
letting
can
you know.
bet on everything, by the way.
Oh, I
you
know.
thought the coin toss was silly at the Super Bowl? You can bet on whether or not the point total is odd or even.
Hey, look, I'm just waiting for the ECHL betting to open up. I can bet American Hockey League. I can't bet the Coast. And that's a problem. Miller and Moulton, we're opening our account. Here we go, people.
Oh, boy.
Miller and Moulton, the live betting account starts tomorrow. Tune in.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Justin Turner's a Blue Jay, if you care.
Oh.
Just put $2 on a parlay to win 10. Miami money line at NC State, they're plus 150. Parlayed with Indiana money line, they got Iowa coming in.
You
Both
bet
games.
Miami to win on the road?
Yep.
Oh.
It's a big one. It'd be a great win for them. I think they're 1.5, 2.5 point dogs.
Three and a half.
Okay.
So that's even better odds.
Colorado State lost 2 games in a row. They're a 1.5 point favorite tonight. I love them.
Who are they playing?
Hang on. San Diego State. They're a 2.5 point favorite. So you wouldn't take Nova tonight, huh?
playing Marquette, right?
Yep.
Boy, Nova's been when they've been good, they've been really good, and they blew a lead at home or they lost to Butler last week.
Butler dad.
Got throttled by St. John's down the stretch. He got hit in the head. He got a forearm across the face from Dylan Brooks. It was a cheap shot. I thought Brooks should have actually been ejected. They called the flagrant. I thought it was intentional. I thought he saw an opportunity to basically punch LeBron in the face, and he took it.
Yeah. If we do this right, we could get a sponsor for this segment.
Yeah, it would be the Hard Rock.
Yeah. The Daily Wager with Miller and Moulton. Or Cold Hard Cash with the Hard Rock bet.
That's not bad.
Oh. Oh. How did the Lions lose?
I don't know, Trent.
Well, the cornerback not catching the ball was a big deal.
Or just batting it down even. I mean, I know he wasn't trying to bat it down, but even if that ball just hits the...
I mean, I don't think the Niners win if that's an interception.
I don't either.
No.
Now, remember, they didn't stop in the whole second half. So even if that gets batted down, I'm still thinking the Niners are going to score points. But, I mean, 5 guys, 5 scores.
Well, yeah, but like you said, though, that play put him on the 5-yard line.
Yeah, no. That led to a quick touchdown. But I'm just saying it's incomplete. Drive still continues.
Was that on second down, 2nd and 10?
I don't know.
It was the play of the day yesterday. I can't even remember.
So you couldn't get, by the way, Westwood 1? Because, you went with the TV call.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't find anything for, yeah.
That's interesting.
Granted, I don't want to say I don't look that hard, but I just look on X, I look and I click over to videos and then I look for a video with and every now and then I get lucky with a radio station.
Do you think you have to call up Westwood 1? I mean, the account? Because I'm guessing they tweet some things out. Maybe they don't.
I'll look into that right now. Well, we're coming back.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Our remaining moments on this Diamond District Tuesday. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. So, are you ready? Are you enthusiastically ready? You're going to start paying attention now to the NBA. You pay attention to the NHL faithfully from day one. You're going to dive into the NBA, or you're still going to wait till after the All-Star break, which is another, I think a couple of weeks.
I will probably wait. I'll watch more college hoop than I will NBA hoop. That's just the way I am. I'll read my scores and my updates in the morning and keep up to date with it that way. But let me ask you a question. What was it? The Timberwolves and OKC played, right? They're top 2 teams in the West.
Yeah.
One, both, or neither make it to the conference final.
Ooh.
Because that's,
neither.
When you guys start getting into the NBA, this is why it's hard for me, because the players don't give a damn about the regular season.
Correct.
You got Oklahoma City and the T-Wolves right now as the top 2 teams in the West.
Neither.
Thank you.
I'll say one. I'll have faith in one of them. And I think I'm leaning Timberwolves.
I just think right now, when you look at the West, who's going to beat the Nuggets in a series? And quite frankly, who's going to beat the Clippers?
So
the Clippers started off, Trent, like 3-7. The Clippers have the best record since I think acquiring Harden. I believe the Clippers have the best record in the league. Not only that, amazingly, knock on wood, this probably won't continue. Harden hasn't missed a game since being acquired. Kawhi's missed 2 all year. Paul George has missed like 5.
And that's the key that I think, and I hate being this guy, but someone's not going to be healthy in the playoffs.
Probably not.
It's true every year.
Probably not. But so far, they're healthy, and they're the most efficient that all 3 players have been. Harden hasn't been this efficient since 2012. Kawhi hasn't been this efficient since 2014 when he was MVP of the finals, with the Spurs the year before. And Paul George is having the best shooting year he's had in a long time. I mean, they're all playing at the top of their games. They're playing, and they're blending together as a unit. That's going to be a really tough out, and they're deep.
And Russ hasn't been this happy since probably his MVP time in OKC.
Right, because he loves living in LA and playing in LA. It's where he grew up. I mean, the Clippers and the Nuggets, Mark, it's difficult for me to pick anybody else except those 2. Now, who knows? They could end up playing one another in those
and I got you.
Second round.
But it's why I asked the question. It's hard to get excited about a regular season when the 2 best teams in what's the better conference, most people don't think we'll get to the conference finals.
This is how much of a goober I am. My favorite NBA storyline right now, and I can't believe I'm going to say this publicly. So Tyrese Halliburton of the Pacers has had an unbelievable season thus far. But 2-3 weeks ago, he slipped and he strained his groin. And I mean, he did the split in the lane. I mean, everybody went, and they were fearful it was going to be a really bad injury. If Tyrese Halliburton were healthy the rest of the year, he would easily finish on the All-NBA first, second, or third team. Well, the way the NBA does their contracts, if you're signed long-term and you're All-NBA first, second, or third team, your contract gets bumped up to another level. It's kind of like being in a teacher's union and you go and further your education. And now instead of getting paid at a bachelor's level, you get paid at a master's level, and they bump up your salary. They reward you for becoming better educated. The NBA rewards their players for making the All-NBA first, second, and third teams. Mark, Halliburton's under contract for 5 more years. If he makes an All-NBA team, it's worth $41 million to him. $41 million. Here's the catch. They have the new rule this year in the NBA.
Yep.
You're not eligible for anything unless you play at least 65 games. So like right now in the NBA, the NBA is just mesmerized by who's going to win the MVP. Honestly, they talk about it year round. It's like promoting the Heisman in August. The NBA is fascinated with who's going to win the MVP.
Their audience is fascinated by it.
Yes, they are.
They talk about it, but it's with good reason.
Yes.
Because the audience of the NBA loves this award. It's the last award left in sports that the fan base cares about it as much as the media in the sport cares about it.
Here's the problem. Right now, who would win the MVP? Embiid. I think he can only miss like 5 games the rest of the year. Well, he's missing on average of like every 4 games. So he's going to not be eligible for the MVP. Mark, Halliburton, because of the injury, now he's expected back, I think, tonight.
Hey, David, I just did the math on this real quick. The Pacers have played 47 games. So they have 35 left. Halliburton's played 34. So he can only miss whatever that is.
Yeah, he can miss like 4 games. 4 games the rest of the year. And it's no big deal or anything. It's only a $41 million clause. It's no big deal. But it's literally, Mark, I'm more fascinated right now with is Tyrese Halliburton going to play enough games? Because if he does, he's going to make an All-NBA team. I mean, he's had like 6 games this year with 20-plus assists and no turnovers. I mean, he's playing at an unbelievable level. By the way, hats off to our old producer, Felipe. He said at the beginning of the year, the surprise team in the league was going to be the Indiana Pacers. I do want to bring that up and give him some credit. But, Mark, honestly, I'm right now because these guys, nobody's playing hard, and I don't care. I just, want the Knicks to make the playoffs and then, but otherwise, seriously, I'm following how many games Tyrese Halliburton is playing. It's a $41 million trivia question.
By the way, David, isn't this the exact reason that Jaylen Brown got paid as much as he did, because he made the All-NBA second team last season?
Right.
And they had to extend him.
A couple years ago, one guy missed being on the All-NBA third team by one vote. One vote. It cost him $32 million over the length of his contract. Now, think about that. The media votes on this. Think about the burden that's on the media. Many of the NBA media have said this is very uncomfortable for them. We don't want player salaries determined by our votes. Like, we'll vote for – they're like, I got no problem voting for MVP. But this whole All-NBA team, we're costing franchises $40 million or costing players $40 million. I don't know that the media should have that burden.
I don't know how the league let the media have that burden.
I know.
That's the part of this that's fascinating. I mean, they want the media to do their job, but they don't want them to. They would.
They're influencing the cap and all that.
Yes.
And the payroll and the hierarchy. I'm with you 100%.
Which then leads to trades because you match contracts. I mean, the power that the media has in this is staggering.
And that they didn't necessarily ask for, by the way. Right. Logic Man in our Twitch chat room goes, how long before we get guys checking in for a few seconds to have been played in the game, go back to the bench?
I think we'll see a lot of that. A lot of that in March and April.
For millions of dollars? But then the team...
Well, the team's not going to do it because they don't want all of a sudden Jimmy Butler to go from making $34 million to $41 million. Why? To check him in for 10 seconds? Are you serious? No.
But then you're going to get an upset player because he's not playing the games. He's going to say, I want to play. They're going to say load management. Oh, this is...
I know.
Sticky,
$41 million, Mark, over the length of the contract. He's got 4 or 5 years left after this one. The escalators are right there. I mean, it's black and white. If he makes an All-NBA team this year, that's $41 extra million on his contract. And he can only miss 4 games the rest of the year.
And by the way, he deserves that money. He's earned it. He's played his way to earn that kind of money. The problem is he's not going to get it unless he meets.
Well, and does he come back early from an injury because he's thinking about $41 million as opposed to what's best for the injury?
And if so, that would be a crying shame. You guys are exactly right. This is a mess.
Trent, would you show up for work every day for $41 million?
Absolutely.
You're damn right you would.
Couldn't get there fast enough.
Right.
Could not get there fast enough.
Even if you're making $200 million over 5 years, $40 million in Indianapolis, that goes a long way.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value or personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
There he is. He's back.
Which is funny because on my end, you were gone.
Yeah, I know. It was our end. I mean,
I
that's
figured
the way it works.
Right, that's what I figured.
The two-way connection.
Right. But I figure worst case scenario, you just do the final segment and, smoke them if you got them.
David, that one. Remember that day that everything cut out for like the whole last hour? And then David texted us, was just like, all right, good luck.
Yep.
We're
Knock
not
yourselves
even-
out.
We were close to having me walk in today with blue hair. We were close. I was going to do it.
It's all right. I had a buddy whose stepdaughter's a hairstylist. He called her. He was listening to the show.
Oh, really?
Called her. And she said, I don't want any more men clients. And Mitch was beside him. So I was like, yeah, that's the last thing you need is more clients and more money.
Yeah, like, help me help you.
And I was going to call her too, because she cuts my hair and she works at like a salon. So I was just going to not do the whole thing, but get you a blue streak or something.
Yeah, that would have been.
Now, did she say how much it costs?
No. She just refused.
Wow. That's bad business.
Kind of what the stepdad was saying.
That's funny.
Mark, the Boston, Indiana over-under tonight's 244.5.
No, Art, she's not. That's kind of why we were trying to do it for her. But, kids these days.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. The final Tuesday of the month, Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us.
Diamond District. Why the hell would you go there? Anything coming up that you might need to get some jewelry for?
Let's see. Is Valentine's Day close?
Right around the corner, David.
Huh. I'll be damned. Well,
right around the corner.
It's been a good place to go to in the past. I mean, you won Christmas by going to the Diamond District. I mean, if you want to win Valentine's Day, it's not a bad place to visit.
A lot of people pop the question on Valentine's Day.
I guess so.
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
No, not at all. Not at the sporting event, not on the big holiday.
No. Well, because,
got to be your own man.
In today's day and age, too, you got to make a big post about, or you might not, but she will, about the proposal. And if you're that guy that did it on Valentine's Day, it seems a little forced.
I could see you doing it at a Lions game, Trent.
Oh, I 100% would do it at a Lions game.
It'll be amazing when you're proposing to that young lady from Appleton, Wisconsin at a Lions-Packers game at Lambeau.
At Lambeau.
It will.
There are certain things I won't do.
They'll be yelling, don't do it.
Right. Her family will be there. You'll be sitting in her family seats.
His dad will be completely drunk.
You will have asked for permission beforehand. Okay. Yep.
Old man's doing keg stands in the parking lot.
Yep.
There are certain lines I won't cross.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep.
They're so cute at this age.
It's amazing. It's amazing that, he thinks that, he's in control of the situation. That's cute. It is.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1835 we start today. History was almost made. It was, but not as big as it could have been, thankfully, because Richard Lawrence misfires at President Andrew Jackson. It was the first attempted assassination of a U.S. president.
Wow. We started early in our nation's history trying to kill our leaders, didn't we?
1873, Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne is published. 1924, at the Winter Olympics. Big day today, David. The first curling medal was won.
Oh, my goodness.
Great Britain winning the first curling medal, pounding France.
What year was this?
24. 1956, Elvis records Blue Suede Shoes.
Hey, did you like what Fox did coming out of break early in the game? Lions are up either 7-0 or 14-0, and they did in this day in 1957.
Yes. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I emailed Zients and Russo, the producer and director, and said, that was outstanding.
My daughter thought it was like, what is this? What are they? This is weird. Things were weird. 1958, Major League Baseball Commissioner Ford Frick announces that coaches and players will vote on the All-Star game, not fans. It wouldn't be until 1970 when the fan vote returns.
And it was done strictly for sponsorship, I think. I think they got Gillette to sponsor it.
1961, Patsy Cline had the #1 song with I Fall to Pieces. 1969, the Beatles performed their last gig, a 42-minute concert on the roof of Apple Corporation, of the Apple Record Corporation.
Where was that? In like Frisco? Where was that?
No, in London.
Oh, it was in London? Okay.
You can see most of it on that Disney Plus Get Back, or a lot of it. They put a decent amount on that. Erno Rubik patents this little cube today in 1975.
Have you ever done it?
No.
No, me neither.
I played with it. I've gotten 3 sides, but never the whole thing.
Yeah, it just, and then somebody will grab it and,
do it in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I know. You just want to punch them in the mouth.
The Larry King Show debuted today in 1978 on radio.
Rapid City, South Dakota. Hello. By the way, coming up, Secretary of Defense will discuss the Middle East. After that, John James. Are UFOs real? It was an amazing show. They could go from just the most serious things to, so you're saying you're seeing UFOs. Yes, and I'm seeing Martians. Thank you for the call.
Today in 1982, Wilfred Benitez defeated Roberto Duran in 15 at Caesars Palace in one of the great fights of all time.
That's after Sugar Ray had beaten Benitez in the late 70s in 15 rounds to take his title away from him. Oh, the middleweights. Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Benitez, Duran.
I think these were these welterweights in 82 or might even been.
Were they lightweights even? I mean, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Between 100.
Duran fought in so many different weight classes.
Well, he kept eating. I mean, how could you not be a fan?
Today in 83, Super Bowl 17, Washington 27, Miami 17. John Riggins, your MVP at the Rose Bowl.
Joe Theismann saving the day. I think it was Kim Bocamper, the screen pass, and he batted it up in the air, and he was about to intercept it at the 5-yard line, and Theismann dives in and bats the ball away from him.
94, Super Bowl 28, Dallas destroys Buffalo 30-13. Emmett's your MVP at the Georgia Dome.
That was the Bills' last of their 4 straight Super Bowl appearances.
Magic comes out of a 5-year retirement today in 96. Would go 19-8-10 in a 28-118 win over Golden State. And today in 2000 at Super Bowl 34, the Rams defeat Tennessee 23-16 at the Georgia Dome. Kurt Warner, your MVP.
1 yard shy.
FDR, former Michigan coach Bump Elliott, Payne Stewart, all born today. Gene Hackman's 94. Dick Cheney's 83. Former Mets manager Davey Johnson's 81. Phil Collins is 73. Curtis Strange, friend of the show, 69 years old today. And Christian Bale is 50. What did I miss, David?
Actually, a lot happened today. And not a lot of it good. Hitler becomes Chancellor of Germany today in 33. Bloody Sunday in Northern Ireland was today in 72. Martin Luther King Jr.'s home was bombed today in 56. I mean, Gandhi was assassinated today in 48.
Skip all of those. I'm like, do I
Man! My
I started writing
goodness.
these down. I'm like, do I really need to bring this up? I'll let Moulton do it.
Mark's like, well, all-star voting changed on this day.
Exactly. I mean, and you talked about that we tried to kill Andrew Jackson today in 1835. Not only that, they executed King Charles today for treason in 1649. Man, remind me to stay indoors on January 30th. My goodness. One lighthearted moment.
We're mock.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, my bad. The Lone Ranger debuted on Detroit radio today in 1933.
Huh. There you go.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Arizona, where a man was out kayaking and diving with his family in the Salt River, and he found a wallet. It was lost in 1995, and he was able to return it to its owner.
I didn't get my wallet back.
Hey, you didn't lose it on a river in 1995 either.
Everybody's getting their wallet back except me.
Both his Sears and J.C. Penney credit cards were still in the wallet, along with his driver's license.
That's fantastic.
Took a few months, but they connected with the owner via social media and were able to return the wallet, be it a few years after it was lost. For the bad, we go to Lee County, where police were able to stop a street racer on Saturday evening on Fiddlesticks Boulevard in Fort Myers. After pulling over and getting the driver to pull over, 2 men were detained, the owner of the vehicle who wasn't driving, and 26-year-old Matthew Rigaud, who was bombed. Nothing like street racing while being completely inebriated.
Oh, boy.
And good to know you had a pocket full of cocaine with you as well.
Oh, well,
enjoy
in that case.
jail. And for the ugly, we go to Polk County, Florida, where Craig Hillenberg used to be the assistant principal at Lincoln Avenue Academy.
Uh-oh.
But he was driving the wrong way down I-4 early Sunday morning. He passed a trooper before the trooper turned around and gets him to try to pull over. Finally, Florida Highway Patrol had to produce a maneuver to get the driver off of the road and arrest him. This just in, alcohol and drugs may have been involved.
What?
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 30th, 2024.
Well, as you would expect, a huge night of college hoops. The Big 12 seems to always have, 1 or 2 ranked teams facing one another. Texas Tech at TCU tonight, 7 o'clock on the Deuce. That is the only matchup tonight of ranked teams. But Carolina, Georgia Tech, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Carolina getting ready for Duke on Saturday. 7 o'clock, Peacock. Illinois at Ohio State. Illinois is a 2.5-point favorite. We're betting the Buckeyes, right?
We're betting the Buckeyes.
We're taking Georgia Tech in the 8.5. We're taking Ohio State in the 2.5. And what's the other ranked team going on the road? And K-State is actually favored against Oklahoma, but we'll lay the 2.5. So there you have it. Mark's play of the night, by the way. Just we're going off the reservation a little bit here. San Diego State, Colorado State. Colorado State's lost 2 in a row. Mark's been following them closely. It's his wife's alma mater. He thinks they're a good team. They were ranked until this 2-game skid. They're home tonight, laying 2.5 against San Diego State. And you're laying the points, aren't you?
I'm laying the points.
All right.
Good matchup between 2 Mountain West teams.
That's our Trent Valley $3 special right there.
I think our bets will be $7, unlike Trent's. We're going to bet his daily wage.
Right.
Can you guys give that to me one more time? I'm writing it down.
Our bets tonight?
Yeah, your bet.
Colorado State minus 2.5 is mine. But David and I are taking Kansas State laying 2.5. They are the home team, and they are not ranked. We are taking the Buckeyes plus 2.5 against Illinois. And we are taking Georgia Tech plus 8.5 against the Tar Heels.
Okay, I like
You're
it.
Staying away from Marquette and Villanova. Both teams are too inconsistent. Villanova somehow is favored at home against 9th-ranked Marquette.
Mark, humor me for a quick second. Michigan State, 11.5-point favorites tonight against Michigan. Juwan Howard, it's on Peacock, 9 o'clock. The Sparty cover.
Yes.
All right. I like it.
Is Michigan having a bad enough season that he may get fired?
Yes. 100%.
Okay.
Yes. They've gotten worse every year since he's taken over.
Right. This is not working.
Not at all.
But now Harbaugh never had a year like this. But remember, 6 years in, there was talk about, this. He's never going to be the guy. He's not going to get us over the hump. What's our plan B? What are we going to do? And they reworked his contract. But, they weren't keeping him because they really, really wanted to. They were keeping him because they felt like they didn't have another move.
I don't think there's a coach that could have survived 0-6 against Ohio State other than Harbaugh. I mean, once you get to 0-4, Michigan would usually move on.
No, you're both onto something. I just wonder, Howard's had some, and so did Harbaugh, though. Harbaugh had some off the field issues. He's gotten a little trouble for recruiting things, and some of his. I mean, they got inquiries by the NCAA, which at Michigan is something that doesn't happen. And Howard's had the incident with 2 other coaches.
5 games in the NBA tonight. The TNT double dip, 7:30 and 10. Indiana at Boston. Halliburton expected back for the Pacers. Philly at Golden State. Golden State's a 3.5-point favorite. That screams no Embiid again. 2 NHL games, both of them on NHL Network if you're a diehard. And Columbus, St. Louis, Seattle, San Jose.
So that'll do it. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for listening. If you missed any of the show, you know where to download it.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching